In this world, there exist 9 races: dragonutes, elves, ghouls, dwarves, demons, centaurs, dark elves, beastmen, and lastly, humans. Out of the 9 races, humans are looked down upon the most and are known as the weakest race. Our protagonist, Light, is fighting against large centipedes and losing until a person of every race comes into the area to save him. These people are his friends and are hundreds of levels ahead of him. All of them tell him to leave the fighting to them. After they defeat the centipedes, the group leaves the dungeon, and the blonde elf, Sasha, starts to reprimand Light for going into the most brutal dungeon. Garu, the beastman, sees the exchange and teases the girl, with everyone else joining in to tease her as well, making her go insane. Light interrupts the moment to announce to everyone that he is sorry for not being useful to the group, but Drago says that he is good enough for the group by making good tea, trying his best to comfort the boy. Humans are called the weakest, yet Light's party, the gathering of races, doesn't have that same mindset and treats everyone, such as Light, equally. He is glad to have joined the party, happily caught up with the rest of the group. They finally find an empty, well-lit cave, and Light assumes that it is for a break, starting to prepare some tea for the group. However, they are not there to relax. Drago walks up to him and tells him that they decide to kick him out of the party. Light misunderstands and apologizes for his actions that day, promising never to do it again, but Garu clarifies that it is just because they don't need him anymore. The boy is confused as to why everyone is suddenly treating him so badly, but the beastman calls Light an idiot for not understanding that it is all an act. Drago explains that they have let Light join because of his gift. At 10 years old, everyone has an extremely small chance of getting a gift, and Light is lucky with his unlimited gacha. Whenever he pushes the button, he gets a card that provides an object to him, but the 12-year-old boy can only produce useless stuff, which Drago agrees are the very reason they don't need him anymore. Higher-ups want Light to be observed for his powers, only for him to end up being both useless and a human. Sasha admits that she is only being friendly for the sake of her country, with Garu jumping in to make fun of her because of it. Light asks them what they are talking about, but they say too much. Drago orders the beastman to clean up the mess, explaining to Light that it is an order from the higher-ups. As Garu charges forward to slash at the boy with his claws, Light barely dodges it and moves back, still wanting to believe that this is all a joke. But the evil looks of everyone in the room make him believe otherwise. The beastman continues his attack as the boy tries to make his escape deeper into the cave. An arrow is sent toward Light's leg, causing him to fall to the ground, and Garu charges forward in amusement and kicks the boy in the gut. He screams in pain and fear. The dark elfshin jumps in to say how she wants to use her torturing magic. Sasha yells that they all agree to lie that Light dies from a monster attack, otherwise they would be suspicious. Garu stands over the teary-eyed boy, ready to give one last slash to kill him, until Light starts to drag himself away from the arms of death. The dwarf Nano tells the beastman to just kill Light already, while all Light can think about is how he doesn't want to die. The group stares with either amusement or disgust, until Light seems to activate a teleportation trap and disappears right before Garu can kill him. Light looks around in disbelief before falling onto his back in exhaustion and crying, wanting to see his family again. He doesn't know what he did to deserve all of those things that just happened to him, being raised by and seemingly being friends with everyone in the group, until it is all found out to be a lie. The boy grits his teeth and starts to curse in rage from the betrayal, vowing to kill them when he can. However, that would mean he would have to get out of this dungeon alive while being only level 15. Monsters start to surround the boy, and he realizes that they are led by his blood and are level 1000, something he can't even comprehend beating. There is nowhere else Light can run while being the level that he is, but he still doesn't want to die and tries to use his gift, unlimited gacha. He yells at the gift to give him anything to distract the monsters, so he can meet his family again and get revenge on the ones who betray him. And suddenly, a light appears, blinding the monster and confusing Light. The monster still tries to run at and eat the boy, making him believe that it is over, until a voice calls out to reprimand it. A woman appears from the light to slice the dog-like monster into pieces while Light stares at her in awe. The mysterious woman who has defeated all the monsters in the area gracefully lands on the ground as pieces of the monster fly all over the place. She stands opposite the boy, who is sitting on the ground shocked, covering his face as he stares in disbelief and silence at the woman who has saved him. The woman stares back with an unreadable expression until she suddenly kneels before Light and looks at him with worry. Light stumbles over his words until the girl finally speaks. She starts to compliment the boy's features, calling him her lord, and she explains to him that she has healed his injuries and apologizes for being selfish about it. He realizes that all of his wounds are gone, and the pain has vanished like it was never there in the first place. The woman asks Light to use his supposedly beautiful voice to tell her his name. Once he introduces himself, she stares at him with light in her eyes as she starts to repeat his name, calling it wonderful and noble. She announces to Light that she is going to devote herself as a maid to doing everything for him, swearing eternal loyalty to the boy. Light doesn't know how to react to the situation unfolding before him and starts to sweat as he sits there and thinks, before the maid asks him if she can take the privilege of introducing herself. The woman finally introduces herself as a super ultra rare card, the level 9999 seeker Maid May, and explains that she is summoned by Light's gift, surprising him. May vows to always be in the boy's care, even after death, and to make sure that nothing will lay a finger on his skin. Light still doesn't believe that someone as powerful as she could come out of his gift, his words being interrupted by the woman begging him not to use any formalities in front of her. He does as he is told, and May immediately switches back to a serious expression, asking if she can use her ability to identify to make sure his gift isn't a defect. Light gives her permission, and the woman inspects him, complimenting the boy for his powers and explaining how it works. His gift, Gacha, is affected by the thickness of the surrounding magic it absorbs to produce cards, meaning that, while he is producing useless cards on the surface, it is understandable why he would summon someone like May in the deepest part of the dungeon. May is impressed that her master is able to come down to the lowest floor by himself just to summon her, but wonders why he doesn't have any weapons. The boy knows her words are wrong as he starts to cry and corrects the woman, explaining to May how he has been betrayed by his teammates. The maid hugs Light and comforts him before asking him to order her to kill those who betrayed him, but he tells her that she can't do that because he wants to do it himself after he becomes stronger. He asks May if she thinks a human like him can't do it, but the woman kneels down and tells him that she will assist him in his wish, having full faith that he can do what he wants. Light thanks the maid and proceeds to use his gift once again in this world's biggest and most evil dungeon, the Abyss. This marks the start of his revenge story. 3 years later, in the deepest part of the Abyss, Light walks through the hall of a castle filled with many upon many maids as he compliments everyone for the good work. All the women thank him, and when he leaves, they start screaming in excitement at how the boy spoke to them. A woman beside Light asks if she should shut them up, but the boy says he's fine with it. An angry voice can be heard in the distance outside, in the training center of the place where 2 women fight like some bitches. Light walks out and finds 3 women, 2 of them arguing with each other. Light calls out to them, and they all stare at him happily. The first one, known as Nazuna, who thinks Light has come to see her, but he recalls her an idiot for being delusional, while Ayuki invites Light to her bedroom right away. Light tells them that there is something he has to tell the 3 of them, but his words are interrupted by the presence of a hellhound, making Light freeze up for a moment because of the memories from 3 years ago. The 3 women stand in front of Light with rage in their eyes as they are ready to protect him. They regret not killing the monster earlier, and now they plan to send it to hell. They scare the monster and turn it into stone. Light tells them that he is fine and starts to pet the petrified monster before it is announced that their primary prey has been caught, and he wants them to be prepared. Everyone starts to cheer as they walk off with evil looks on their faces, ready to enact the first part of the revenge. Later, Garu is seen in the major city of the wolves, Akura. He is greeted by many people around him in excitement. While Garu loves all the praise that is being given to him, he sits in a bar and drinks sake happily, still getting complimented by the worker at the bar. Garu starts to brag about his skill and how a person should complete their job with the best result, causing the wolf next to him to ask about the secret mission he did with the gathering of the races all those years ago. Garu can't say much since it was a job assigned by the country, but he is internally amused at how he had gotten so rich just by killing Light. A sudden ominous feeling courses through the beastman as his senses smell death, and decides to focus his thoughts on how he is going to be at the top soon enough. Just then, May walks into the room and catches the interest of Garu as he asks what she wants. The maid begs him to show her where Light last went to for a big compensation, while Garu and all the other wolves are left dumbfounded. Seeing the huge compensation, Garu is extremely shocked since he didn't know that the boy had noble blood. Garu starts wondering if he and his companions missed something big about Light, but then he puts the thoughts aside as he is too busy thinking about having some fun and selling the woman when he is done, telling May that he will accept the quest. Garu lies and says that he was good friends with Light, and makes a false promise that he will escort Mei to the dungeons, safely saying that it would be extremely dangerous for her to go there alone. But the beastman knows what he wants to do with the woman once they are there. Accompanied by 10 other beastmen, the 12 of them enter the same cave that Light was supposedly killed in. Garu explains how they were ambushed and Light had triggered a teleportation trap before they could save him, and Mei kneels down with tears, thinking of how her beloved master was betrayed. Garu nods at the other wolves as they block the only exit in the cave. They all stare down the woman with evil looks until Mei speaks about her anger at not being there for Light earlier when he was betrayed. Garu is shocked by her knowledge and jumps back defensively, asking her who she works for. Mei reminds Garu about how she swore her loyalty to Light and gives off a powerful aura strong enough to make everyone in the room shiver and freeze, including Garu himself, as he simply cannot comprehend how someone from an inferior race can even emit such an intense aura that makes him tremble. Suddenly, a voice calls out to Mei, saying it isn't her turn, causing Garu to whip his body around at the familiar voice. This throws everyone off guard, and once Light pulls down his hood, the beastman stares in shock at the man he thought was dead. Light waves and gives a bright smile to Garu as he excitedly tells the beastman that he is there for his revenge. After 3 long years, Garu stands in shock before he composes himself and starts to laugh, still believing that Light is level 15 and can't win against him. The beastman doesn't know how Light has survived out there, but believes that the Dragonoots are going to owe him one if he brings Light's corpse back with him. The boy scoffs at how brash and ignorant Garu is being, but Garu still believes that he and his men are stronger than the 2 in the room, looking down on them just because they are human. Garu laughs maniacally and calls the boy naive for thinking that he can get his revenge against him, even if Mei is there to protect him. The beastman orders the others to block the exit and kill the boy and make some delicious memories. His minions agree, and suddenly, the 2 beastmen immediately dash toward Light with hungry looks until their heads are suddenly cut clean off by Mei. Light thanks Mei for her effort and asks her to block the exit as well. Everyone starts to shiver in fear, but Garu orders them to calm down as he still believes they can't lose. Light sighs at the fact that Garu is still looking down on them after that scene, even after 3 whole years. Garu is offended and starts to announce that they, as monsters, can easily raise their levels compared to humans who supposedly can't do the same. In this world, one's level determines their value in the world, and Garu feels that he is on top at level 158. Light doesn't want to lose, even as a human who doesn't naturally have specialties and high levels like other races. The boy asks why there are heads rolling on the ground, but Garu believes that it is a trick and orders everyone to prepare themselves all at once to attack the small boy. In such a short amount of time, Light uses his staff to swiftly beat up every single one of the beastmen, including Garu, sending them all flying while Mei watches from a distance with adoring eyes. All of the beastmen cough and groan, trying to recover from the hits as they try to get back up. But Light has no reaction as he looks down at Garu with a cold look, asking him what is wrong. Garu looks up at Light with rage until he suddenly throws up from being hit in the gut, coughing as he struggles to get back up onto his feet. He starts to chant to himself, trying to remember his hatred for humans while he's in disbelief that he, a powerful monster, could lose to the inferior race. The beastman screams at the boy to not look down on him and pulls something out from a bag, a surprising light flashing as he watches Garu jump back and reveal a small pearl. He calls out for someone named Fenrir to be summoned as Garu smashes the pearl into the ground, a light appearing and blinding everyone else. Garu grins as he explains that the item is called a monster ball and can hold a high-level monster inside, meaning that it would release the monster once broken, and it would follow his every order before disappearing in about an hour. He grits his fangs at the fact that he has to use such an expensive trump card against the boy, but feels the power of the monster that curls around his form, its large canine body roaring loudly. The monster is level 500, and all of Garu's minions look at the scene in awe, somehow holding on to hope once more for their situation. Garu still believes that Light is using tricks against him and threatens to make the boy regret not killing him immediately. But Light interrupts his moment by asking if that is really his trump card, considering he thinks level 500 is still too weak against him. Garu laughs in disbelief and asks if Light has lost his mind, claiming that Light must have just been using a magic item and should beg for his life, just like all those years ago. The boy stays silent while the beastman continues bragging and says that he might change his mind and let Light live if he makes him laugh. Everyone else in the room giggles in amusement until the small boy sighs and looks forward with a smile, telling Garu that he'll stay in place and let the boring trump card do its thing. Garu feels offended and orders Fenrir to turn Light into ashes as the canine monster uses its breath as a cannon attack. Usually it would be a one-hit kill, but Light just stands there and doesn't get a single scratch on him. Wiping off the dust, Garu stares in shock. He knows that the only way to explain the situation is a huge gap of power, but he just can't believe that Light somehow has a far higher level. His thoughts are interrupted by Light saying that it is his turn. Pulling out a card, the boy is ready to show Garu the real Fenrir at level 9,000. A wolf made out of pure light appears from thin air and stands proudly behind Light before he's ordered to kill the dog behind Garu. It simply blows air in the direction of Garu's monster, freezing it immediately before it shatters into pieces. Light praises Fenrir and starts to pet the large dog while Garu falls to the ground in fear, asking how the boy could have something like that. Light explains with a smile that he didn't even need to summon Fenrir, because he himself is level 9,999. Garu stares up in fear at Light, his body shivering. His minions behind him are also scared for their lives, as one of them says that he had previously believed that a human's average level should be around 100. Light explains that May is also level 9,999, making Garu realize that Light is the real deal and isn't messing around with his power. He is still in disbelief that the boy in front of him is really the Light he knew before, remembering him from 3 years ago. Garu is more focused on the fact that his appearance hasn't changed, but the boy explains that he uses a wristband of immortality that he got from his Gacha gift to stop his growth, just so he can remember his feelings of despair, sorrow, and rage from all those years ago. Garu stares at the boy, knowing that he is a monster who could kill him, and immediately slams his hands onto the ground in a bow. He apologizes for being rude and tries to make an excuse, saying that he only tries to kill Light because it is orders from the country, claiming that Light can do whatever he wants with the other beastmen as long as Garu is alive. Everyone else in the room is offended by Garu's action, angry that he seems to only care about himself. When he continues to beg the boy to remember the good memories they have together, Light finally speaks and says that he will ask Garu something before the whole letting him go thing. He asks about what country they mean when they mention something about a master, but Garu seems not to know anything at all. Garu says that the beastmen don't have as many skills as the other races, meaning they aren't told anything about the mission. The boy asks the other wolves if they know anything. Everyone starts to jump up in hope that telling Light will let them live. However, that isn't the case, as May quickly slices them all to pieces, knowing that all of their intentions are just to lie to Light. Their blood splatters all around Garu while the beastman's body shakes with terror as Light asks one last question, if he thinks that Light can win against all the countries on the surface with how strong he is. Garu admits that he truly believes Light is powerful, but it would be almost impossible to win against all of them because of all the years of history and legendary-grade weapons and armor they possess. Light hums and thinks before smiling at how Garu has told the truth and agrees that they definitely have limits despite their power. Suddenly, Light pulls out a teleportation card to use, and the light envelops the group, confusing Garu until they disappear and are sent somewhere else. Garu holds his head in fear, eyes closed, until he realizes that he is still alive and looks around in bewilderment, wondering where they are, in an extremely large room with hundreds if not thousands of people of all races who stand in an organized manner, leaving enough space for Light to walk toward a throne. He sits on the chair as everyone bows in his presence before they are asked by the boy to raise their heads and display their status boards. In seconds, the message boxes appear all around the room, as everyone in that room is at levels above what Garu can comprehend. Evil eyes from around the room are all staring at Garu, while Light explains that in the 3 years he is down there, he raises all of these people just by using his own power. The boy then asks the same question from earlier, if he can win against all the people on the surface, but Garu can't answer and can only feel the life in him leave his body, which makes Light feel confident. The beastman manages to speak and asks if the boy is something like a god, causing Light to realize how the sound of that label feels good to him. He wonders what he will give to the world with his gift, and is about to decide based on what the truth is about why the other countries want him dead. Light is going to find out whether he should become a gift holder that bestows happiness, or the one that gives death and despair. The boy stands up from his chair and announces to everyone in the room that they are going to rise up from the abyss and seek truth and revenge against the people on the surface. A few days after Light's revenge against Garu, before the team set off for their next plan, they came to visit the graves of Light's parents. The village had been destroyed by someone and was a ruin now. This is not his first time coming to the surface, his first being half a year ago, long before his revenge against Garu. The abyss was deeper than what was originally thought, and Light's teleport skill was unable to be used. After a long time spent figuring out how to get around the restrictions, the group was finally able to get out of the abyss and reach Winterlight's village. However, the group would face the horror of the remains of the village he once knew. Nothing was left behind. Light falls to his knees while he wailed in grief. He used the power of everyone with him to try to find out what happened to the village, but there was no certain trace of the truth to be found. The only positive thing Light saw in the situation was that he couldn't find the bodies of his siblings, meaning that there was at least a chance of them being out there alive. So Light dispatched people to gather information and find a culprit. A knight in gold armor walks up to the boy and asks if he is done so they can depart immediately and don't have to sleep outside on their first day of traveling. A woman named Nemumu calls out to the knight, known as Gold, and reprimands him for speaking so casually to Light. She tells him to watch his attitude and speak with respect, but Gold explains that formality sounds awkward, asking the girl if she wants to sleep outside herself. Nemumu tries to claim that she doesn't care where the group would sleep, but the knight explains that it would probably be best for the boy's sake to avoid camping outside, making the girl realize his point. Gold also warns Nemumu that she should lessen her loyalty to Light in case he would come to dislike her, causing the girl to start crying, but she still vows to fulfill her duty as a servant. Light starts to chuckle and reassures both of them that he would never hate any of them. These two people are Light's guards while he acts as a traveling adventurer on the surface, both being level 5,000. The plan has started, and the three of them set off for their journey to find information on things. Light's next target is Sasha Bari. He is already preparing for his revenge against the elf girl, but they will have to initiate this adventurer plan in the meantime because he doesn't want to start a war out of nowhere, instead choosing to investigate the strongest in every country to learn about the enemy and their potential gifts. Nemumu tries to tell him that there wouldn't be anyone else like Light to exist in the world, but the boy explains that because he exists, there is always a chance of another like him, meaning that they should be extra cautious, especially of this master that all the countries are scared of. Even if Light's village's destruction was caused by monsters or bandits, he knows that it has a connection with this master and was a scheme to get his parents killed. Rage starts to fill him as his fists tighten, knowing that he would burn the world down. Gold and Nemumu shiver in fear before the boy sighs and calms down, putting on a clown mask and telling the others that it's time to go. Gold reminds Light not to spread his kill intent on the street or else people will die. He tells Nemumu that she's scared, adding that they shall enjoy their journey on the surface. Light agrees and starts their journey as an adventurer. All three of them start to fly towards their destination. Nemumu asks Light if they are heading toward a city in the Dwarf Kingdom, to which the boy confirms, the city of Dagas. Gold tells Nemumu that she should be careful of what she calls Light when they reach the ground, the boy agreeing and letting them both know that they should call him Kuro, for he would be known from now on as Kudo the Adventurer, a boy trying to raise his rank and reputation. Light knows that he couldn't have gone with his original name, in case the former gathering of races might get wind of the situation and cause his revenge to fail. Dagas was chosen as the city to go to since it was far from where the group would move around in, and they would find more information about this master. They were planning to raise their adventurer ranks in the meantime while Iri would complete the Sasha revenge plan. Once the group arrives near the city, the three of them land in the forest and walk through the trees. They continue on foot through the entire forest, and later, a rustle is heard in the distance during their walk as the group notices a carriage being harassed by some dwarf bandits. While Light and Nemumu hide in the trees, Gold's armor is very shiny and can be seen a mile away, causing the dwarves to immediately notice the knight's presence. The bandits order for the group to come out and stare at them with evil looks, especially Nemumu since she is a woman. Light tells Gold to take on the people hiding in the trees without killing them, while he and Nemumu would go for the parent and kid. The hidden dwarves finally come out of the bushes and charge at Gold, wanting to steal his armor, but all of their weapons immediately shatter upon contact with the knight. The dwarves stare in disbelief at their weapons breaking until Gold flicks one of them away, sending the old man flying. The Golden Knight announces to the rest of the dwarves that he will teach them the spirit of a knight. Light tells the rest of the dwarves to stand down, but they don't believe that the young boy has any power against them since they are over level 200. The boy tells Nemumu not to kill them, and the dwarf bandits soon realize Nimumu is right behind them before she swiftly knocks them out. Light kneels down to ask if the parent and child are okay, while they just stare in bewilderment and awe, asking who their group is. After getting patched up, the family allows the three of them to ride in the carriage after saving their lives. The father asks them if they are famous adventurers, but Light admits that their group is going to register as adventurers for the first time once they reach Daga's and rank up as fast as possible. And so, the man advises them to go to Daga's guild, as it's closed to dungeons, which will help them level up faster. Light gets excited to hear this, while the just man cannot stop complimenting him and his team. After some time on the road, the group finally reaches the Dwarf Kingdom and is dropped off at the entrance. The man tells Light that he runs an inn mainly for humans in case Light would ever need it, to which the boy thanks him. They quickly bid their goodbyes and enter the city. Gold and Nimumu admire the place, as it is their first time seeing a city on the surface. They look at the variety of weapons and armor, and as they continue to walk through the streets, Light tells them not to get distracted. They continue to make their way to the guild. Finally, they arrive and stare at the large building of the Dagas Guild. Entering through the doors, there are people of all races seen all around the building, either chatting with one another or finding jobs for themselves, seemingly livelier than the city's streets. Light tells the two that they should finish their registrations right away. However, Nimumu is not satisfied with the rank that the person at the desk gives Light. The girl doesn't care for her own or Gold's rank, but feels offended by an F rank being given to Light, despite that rank being the one given to every person registering as an adventurer. Nimumu does not care for the logistics and slams her hands on the counter, demanding that the person at the desk make Light into a triple S rank, until the boy himself tells her that he doesn't mind starting from F and apologizes to the person at the desk for Nemumu's behavior. They go outside after registering, and Nimumu is on the floor in defeat, feeling bad after making Light apologize for her actions. Before the group goes off to find an inn, they go not just to any inn but to the one owned by the person they saved earlier in the day, Colonel's Inn. The three of them are immediately greeted by the father, who says he will show them the best hospitality he can. Colonel is interrupted by Light, who says that he has three selfish requests while they stay there. The first is to stay for 1 month, the second is to get the highest floor all to themselves, and the third is for not even one staff member to go up while they are there. Light pulls out a bag filled with 300 gold coins and asks if it is enough, insisting that Colonel think of it more as a gift than a payment. The man thinks for a moment before bowing and accepting the requests, guiding the three up to the highest floor. After arriving and finally being left alone, Light takes out some cards to use on the room to make it silent from the outside, nullify any outside magic, and detect people around. Gold asks about the money, only for the boy to explain that the money is in fact real and obtained from their comrades acting as merchants on the surface. He doesn't want to use counterfeit money at this specific inn, as they would get into trouble if it is used anyway. Light could also make infinitely more money from his gacha skill, but he doesn't want to destroy the economic balance of society. Nimumu jumps into the conversation and tries to tell him that no matter how strong he is, the possibility of something happening isn't zero. She suggests sending more people from the abyss, but the boy shoots her a cold look and cuts her off, asking if she is trying to rob him of his revenge. A menacing aura hovers around him. The girl kneels on the ground and apologizes for her behavior, starting to tear up as her body shivers in fear. Gold starts to laugh heartily, telling Nimumu that Light is capable of achieving things with his own hands. Light takes a break and comforts the girl, apologizing for lashing out at her and scaring her, but she agrees that it is her fault and wants to display her loyalty once again. The boy sits on a chair as the girl takes off his shoe and kisses his toe, a means of displaying a loyal slave, which everyone else in the abyss requests to do, even though Light himself doesn't like it and finds it embarrassing. Gold breaks the weird moment and teases the girl for what she is doing, but Light lets them know that they will prioritize going into the dungeon the next day until Irie's preparations are complete. Light's shine touches the land as morning comes, and people crowd around the land nearby the dungeon. Markets line the sides, selling provisions, food, potions, weapons, everything an adventurer could need, and this is just the entrance to the dungeon. The three of them admire the scene around them. Light looks over to the people gathering to walk through a large gate, seemingly entering in order. Gold notices that it seems to be only humans, beastmen, and dwarves. The boy explains that it is because elves are not welcome around the area, as elves and dwarves never like each other. People around them start to stare at the group, wondering who they are since they stand out so much from the others, but Light decides to see it as a positive thing. He feels a little embarrassed with the formation they are in, as Nemomu is close behind him, but he does not object, since it is a suggestion from a companion. Suddenly, a group of people in hoods cuts the line, catching the interest of the three. The one in front is small and well-trained. One of the thugs turned around in anger, asking if Light is talking to him. He asks if Light knows who he is, but Light says he's not supposed to know who's under the hood. Gold loves to hear this joke, telling the man he must be drunk during the day. Nemomu cuts in, telling him to just follow the rules instead of being a brat. A crowd starts gathering around them while Light humbly tells the man to just obey the rules and get to the back of the line. The stupid thug is about to draw a weapon, but gets stopped by one of his own comrades who takes him away, saying it's not a good time to make a fuss. The comrade even apologizes for his friend's stupid behavior, and as they leave, the crowd starts praising Light and his spirit. Light acts humble while the crowd explains how they are always looked down for being human. Just then, another party comes to them, thanking them for their help, while Light encourages them to take steps on this. One of the persons from the other leader tells Light that he has got a really cool mask. He also asks Gold if his armor is made of real gold, and just as Gold is about to answer his question, Nemomu says that it's made of fake one, as even if it were made of real gold, it would only attract bandits and wouldn't be efficient in real combat. One of the participants from the party starts apologizing for the stupid question asked by his friends, but in reality, the armor Gold carries is made of real gold mixed with other rare metals. Light realizes that Gold is actually catching a lot of attention, but he thinks it would be great for the people to remember them as a party. The other party leader asks Light if he is entering the dungeon for the first time since he is not carrying any camping gear since people normally camp inside. Nemomu looks around, saying that it's true, everyone is bringing a lot of stuff beside their weapons, while Gold says they are the only one with little luggage. Light says that they are only here to check the place only and thanks the leader of the other party for the information. The leader of the other party feels bad for doing so little for someone who saved his party. And just then, the dwarf of the dungeon calls their party to enter the dungeon as it's their turn. The other party says goodbye and enters the dungeon, while Light thinks to himself that he is so used to using item box all the time that he forgot to bring any stuff. Nemomu suggests bringing some fake luggage, but Light says that they will take care of that while in the dungeon. After a few moments, the party enters the dungeon, walking through a dark tunnel. It's Nemomu's first time, while Light is pretty excited. However, as Light goes downstairs, deeper into the dungeon, he realizes he was wrong about moving, thinking he knows too much about them. He says that in order to solve the mysteries of the dungeon, they must reach its core, and it's not very common for anyone to have any knowledge about the core of the dungeon. Gold and Nemomu start teasing each other, saying they should not waste their time thinking about their core, while Light thinks about some different stuff. At first, the world was covered by a black vortex. When the goddess shone her light, she created the lands and 9 races, and after the vortex divided, it formed into an evil god that loved the goddess, wanting her all by himself. But when the lands were created, the evil god was stuck beneath it, which is why he used the holes to make his own monsters. The holes are also called the dungeons. The 9 races created by the goddess fought against the monsters to protect her, and this battle continues even to the present. The monsters are stronger at night, especially in underground dungeons because they are closer to their god. Dungeons are fragments of the evil god. Light remembers Iri saying that she does not know how the evil god could do such powerful things, like absorbing energy from stars and magic. The evil god can spawn different things, including monsters, as well as environments of his own choice. As Light continues walking downstairs with his party, they reach the end of the stairway, and in front of them they become extremely shocked to find a huge, beautiful place with lush greenery and clear blue sky. On the first floor of the dungeon, the party that broke the line and was confronted by Light stands in the middle of a thick forest. Its leader cannot stop cursing Light for talking to him as if he was some ordinary person. Just then, out of nowhere, they get attacked by the monsters of the dungeon. The leader of the party, who's already burning in anger, draws his weapon and goes on to take out his anger on the poor monsters. In a few moments, he kills every single monster around him and announces himself as the strongest white knight of the elf kingdom, a genius and the one who inherited the blood of the legendary master. His name is Kaito. He looks at his status window and realizes that his levels haven't increased. His researcher tells him that they must go to the 3rd floor to hunt the trolls if he wants to level up. Kaito agrees with the researcher named Yanaku. However, he is not satisfied with his status as it's only 1,500 levels. He thinks it's way too little for someone like him since he is the descendant of the hero. Yanaku tries to tell him that he has already surpassed an average elf's potential, but Kaito argues, saying that for someone like him to be worthy of a descendant of the hero, 1500 means nothing. Kaito badly wants to surpass his limits so that he can teach some lesson to those who made a fool out of him. Yanaku agrees with him, saying that in order for him to be helpful to Kaito, they must reach the 3rd floor first. Kaito tells Yanaku to finish his research and provide something helpful, and Yanaku smiles, saying that he will do anything in order to continue his research. Yanaku is a dark elf, and working with him, Kaito feels disgusted. He wants to kill all the bastards and thugs in his country once he's recognized as a hero. At the same time, on the other side of the 3rd floor, Light takes down a swarm of monsters and orders his comrades to collect the material from the trolls so that they can bring them back. Light is confident in the resources his unlimited gacha cards are producing, and now that they have collected quite a bit of magic stones already, Light decides to head back up to the surface. As they are all covered in dirt, Nemomu wants to take a bath with Light while Gold keeps shining like a diamond in his golden eye. Nemomu tells him that she was not talking about washing Gold's body, but Light. Later, Light reaches the 1st floor of the dungeon with his comrades thanks to his unmatchable power. It only took him a few moments to explore the dungeon. Nemomu can see the star stairs to the next floor, even though she doesn't really like the way they are going. But this scenery is only visible when she is beside her lord. Looking at the beautiful scenery in front of them, Light thinks it's different from the cave-type epis, as all 3 of them fly through the plain field. They continue their conversation about the experience they just had, and looking down at the ground, Light spots something strange. It's the party they met in the morning. Most of them are kids, and currently they are surrounded by deadly monsters. 3 young boys are at the front, and the girl who is a mage supports them from the back. And since these newbies are fighting goblins, Gold thinks they would win, Light thinks otherwise. The very next second, the female mage gets attacked by a snake from behind, but after a few moments, other members of the party are celebrating after defeating the goblins. But as they turn around, they find Light standing behind them with his party, telling them that they must pay attention to their rear as well. Looking down at the ground, the leader finds a snake and realizes that if the mage named Mia were to get bitten by the snake, she would end up paralyzed, which would have broken their party's formation. The leader immediately thanks Light for helping their party once again, while Light warns them against the danger lurking nearby. All of a sudden, the great bush wolves appear out of nowhere, surprising all the newbies to their dismay. The leader of the party shouts in fear, saying they can't deal with such monsters. He even tells Gold to retreat, but Light says that the monsters are running away from something else. As the monsters run in the opposite direction, the leader becomes shocked, saying that if they're running away, it means something even bloodier is coming at them. Next, voices of extreme violence are heard by the party members from a little distance, making everyone surprised. And suddenly a huge mantis appears in front of them. Light asks Irio if he knows about the mantis, and Irio replies saying it's a monster that is supposed to appear only once in 30 years, and it was supposed to be subjugated 10 years ago. He tells everyone to run as fast as they can, and asks Nia to distract the mantis with her magic while Light and his team also escape. To his surprise, he finds Light and his team standing in front of the mantis, and Irio and his comrades lose their shit. Light turns around asking if he can kill the mantis if they plan to run. Nemomu sees this as an opportunity to grow while Irio can't believe it, but Light assures him saying they will be fine, after which Light asks Gold to hunt down the mantis. Amidst the chaos, Gold steps up for action. He goes on to attack the giant mantis. Surprisingly, he blocks his attack. Seeing the mantis take his attack like a boss, Gold becomes utterly shocked. To take the threat down, Light steps up as he launches a powerful flame arrow attack at the monster, but his attack also gets blocked in an instant. Watching the battle closely, Irio realizes the mantis is way too strong for them. He thinks Gold won't be able to hold back as the mantis has weapons as well. He asks Mia to cover Gold, but Mia is afraid. Irio can't believe Light has used a flame arrow as it requires a lot of skill. Gold tells his party to sit back and enjoy the show, saying he will show them how to properly use a sword and a shield as both a defense and an offense tool. Gold walks closer to the mantis and waits for the perfect opportunity, on which he goes on to swing the shield to deliver critical damage to the mantis, making Irio stunned. Gold tells Irio to not just swing his sword blindly. He says battle is a test of intelligence, and one must make full use of the sword and the shield as well, attacking the weakness of their opponent. Just then, Light steps forward to take his turn fighting the mantis. He launches 30 fire arrows at once, making everyone completely shocked, and happens to control his arrows perfectly well even from a distance. However, the mantis is a clever beast yet stupid, as he blocks all 30 arrows with its single limb, causing it to explode. Light decides to end this once and for all, but the mantis screams in pain and leaves the battleground. Light isn't done yet. He builds a huge firewall around the giant bug, and seeing this, Mia immediately says that Light is using the magic that even some of the elves can perform, let alone humans. With no other way to escape, the mantis uses its mind and flies in the air to escape. However, Nemomu starts chasing it. She leads the mantis to death as she cuts it down into a dozen pieces, telling Gold not to be jealous of her. Gold tells her she ruined the corpse and they can't sell it now, which makes Nemomu worried, but Light says it's fine. Meanwhile, Irio can't understand who's this badass trio that beat such a powerful monster with so much ease. The battle is over, and Irio and his group praise the three for their actions in taking on such a large beast so easily. Irio asks Light and the others if they are famous rank adventurers, quickly correcting himself, and then believing that they could even be S-rank. Light dismisses Irio's words of awe and casually explains that they have just registered as adventurers, which makes them currently F-rank. Gold tells Light that they can talk later and should collect the magic stones, but the boy says that they need to clean up the mess made by Nemomu. Irio's group decides to give a hand, and Mia summons a ball of water so Gold and everyone else can wash their hands. Clean water is very precious inside a dungeon, but it is great that someone can use their mana to create pure water just so everyone can simply wash their hands. Light can feel the group's sincerity as adventurers and thanks them for their help. Mia walks up to Light and apologizes for her delayed gratitude for saving her from the bush snake and gives an enthusiastic thanks until she bites her tongue in the process, which makes her extremely flustered and embarrassed. Gold tells Light that they should move soon in case there are other monsters, but Irio suggests that they come with them to their camp nearby since the sun is going down and it would be dangerous for Light and the others to move around at night. Irio wants to repay them for helping with the hooded people and for what has just happened, and Mia herself has questions related to Mija's for Light to answer. The boy decides to accept their kindness and follows them to their camp, where they eat, rest for the night, and chat about their lives. Once they dig in, Mia learns that Light's parents are supposedly both mages and believes that is why he is so talented. Light compliments the girl as well for her own power at her age, but she dismisses his words after comparing her power with his since she can't even use tactic-grade spells or cast them without chanting. Irio eats his food and asks his sister how much of a difference magic makes, causing the girl to whip her head and yell at her brother about it. Magic has 3 classes in total: combat grade, tactic grade, and strategy grade. Combat grade usually means things like elemental arrows and such when mages are fighting alone. A tactic grade, such as the firewall that Light makes, is used for enlarging the radius. Finally, strategy grade includes things such as meteors, tsunamis, earthquakes, and more that affect the world, requiring many mages to chant together and summon. Being able to use tactic-grade magic is proof of being first class, and races such as dragons, newits, dark elves, and demons can pass such a test, while humans cannot climb that wall. Mia is both impressed and envious of Light's power in doing it all so easily without chanting, believing that they are witnessing a legend being carved into history. Nemomu stands up and laughs proudly, saying that Mia has good eyes for being able to understand Light's power. Banter occurs between Nemomu and Gold, causing Irio and Light to apologize for the noise. Irio himself agrees that his sister is talented since she has gotten a recommendation from the principality to enter their magic school. Light's eyes hold interest when he asks about the principality, wondering if it is the joint nation supported by all 9 races. Irio confirms and explains that the principality's magic school is said to be the best place for those pursuing magic. Gold asks why they can't already get into the school, but Irio admits that their parents have died and that they don't have the income to pay for tuition or even live on their own. This leads the 2 siblings to meet up with their childhood friends and work as adventurers for the time being until they can earn enough money, which allows Mia to go to the magic school. Mia says that she is happy just being with everyone, begging her brother not to do anything reckless, to which Irio reassures her that he will not. Light compliments the girl once again and says that she will reach her goal, but she thinks he is only flattering her. Light insists, knowing that this is actually what he thinks, since it is rare for a human to use magic anyway. Even if Light were level 9,999, he can only use magic because of his cards, unlike Mia, who actually has potential due to her real abilities. The girl thanks Light for his words. Irio proceeds to ask Light why he decides to become an adventurer. Light makes up a lie and says that his parents died in a fire. Nemomu continues by saying that the boy got a heavy burn from the fire and is looking for a potion that can heal it. One of the members in Irio's group jumps into the conversation and asks if Gold and Nemomu are lovers, but this causes Nemomu to get angry and for Gold to laugh, agreeing with Nemomu that they will never get together. Gimaru tries to ask if they have a chance with Nemomu, but she bluntly refuses and says that she only likes Light. Mia stares in at the idea of an age gap love. Everyone continues the banter for the rest of the night before they have to sleep for the next day. Meanwhile, on the third floor, Yanaku and Kaido are looking for materials from trolls. Kaido asks how long he is going to be hunting trolls, but the dark elf reassures him that the research is about breaking the limits of races, and that they are going to advance toward their next material soon, a human, for their experiments. It has been 2 weeks since Light and the others went into the dungeon, and now it is time for them to go back. The path to the entrance is crowded, meaning it will take a bit of time before the three can go back inside. People around notice them and recognize who they are as the party who is rumored to have defeated the Forsyth Mantis, being known as the Dark Clown Mask Party. Nemomu is surprised that there is already a name made for their party, and Light is excited to know that they are starting to stand out. Irio and his group walk up and greet the three after not having seen each other for so long. They have a gift of appreciation for Light and give him a medicine for his supposed burn wound. Light is silent for a moment before thanking Mia for the gift and taking out something in return for the girl, a bracelet that provides the user a small miracle when wishing strongly upon it. He insists that she should take it, and Mia takes it with gratitude, putting it on and admiring it before she turns around and thanks Light with a bright smile. Nemomu is jealous that she doesn't get a gift from Light, but Gold tells her to stop or else she will embarrass the boy. Once the three enter the dungeon, they immediately go on their flight through the air. Nemomu asks Light if it is truly okay for him to give such an item for a low-grade medicine. Light agrees that it isn't a good trade, but he is happy that she cares for him. Once the group arrives on the 5th floor of the dungeon, a snowfield Light tells Nemomu and Gold that he is going to leave the Yetis to them, while the boy himself heads back to the abyss. He takes out a card and teleports out of the dungeon, knowing that he is safe to do so on the 5th floor of the dungeon. Due to its size, everyone is there to greet Light as he finally comes back after not being there for so long. May brings some tea for the boy as Light explains what happens during the journey and how he meets some nice people, making Mia happy about the news. Iri walks in and tells Light about there is progress in Sasha's revenge plan and how it will be ready in 10 days. The boy praises Iri for her work and tells her to advance with the preparations, while he thinks about how Nazuna, being his strongest subordinate, is a person who doesn't think before acting and decides to just let her protect the abyss from strong enemies. She agrees and excitedly tells Iri to go finish the preparations, causing the blonde witch to scoff as they leave. Light continues to sit there while drinking his tea, excitement in his eyes as he wonders how Sasha's face will look when in despair. On the 3rd floor of the Daga's dungeon, 2 men sit by the fire, chatting with each other. They are night guards for the time being and seem to be discussing random things like fogs and monsters, reminding each other to not let their guard down. One of the men, Subalan, asks Gilbert if he knows anything about the Dark Clown Mask Party. Gilbert does not, which makes Subalan explain that they are the people who reach the 5th floor within days, defeat a Forsyth Mantis with just the 3 of them, and even use tactic-grade magic without chanting. Gilbert is shocked and in disbelief, but Subalan insists it is true because of witnesses. It is almost too good to be true. As Gilbert wonders if the human leader of the group is a reincarnation of a hero or some legend, Subalan hopes that this will mean a change in the world. Humans will start being respected after their moment. Subalan mentions that the humans have been facing extreme racism for the past few years and hopes this ends soon. They both then start talking about the stars in the sky, and then Subalan walks off, saying he is going to use the bathroom while Gilbert tells him to cover up his business before returning. However, after taking a piss, when Subalan returns, he stumbles upon a horrifying sight. Kai is standing over his friend's decapitated head. Subalan stares in shock before quickly composing himself and trying to think about what to do next. He knows he can't do anything against an elf, so he decides to run away and report the situation to the guild, while Kaido can't understand why this inferior being isn't losing his mind to see an elf standing on the head of his friend. Gritting his teeth, Subalan uses a smoke screen and tries to sprint away into the swamp, thinking his plan has succeeded. He keeps running away thinking he will be able to escape safely as he remembers the map of the place in the back of his head. Suddenly, something hits him and sends him to the ground. He is in disbelief until he is struck unconscious by Yanaku, who is disappointed by Kaido's attempt to kill everyone, making it difficult for him to continue his experiment. The elf Kaido scoffs, saying humans are too annoying not to kill. Yanaku agrees, planning to teach humans a lesson with his experiments, excited to gather more materials and replacements within the dungeon. Meanwhile, Mia stares at the bracelet that Light has given her, grinning. The others start teasing her about her feelings. The girl tries to complain, but they dismiss her and continue thinking about how they might meet Light again on the next floor. Mia blushes even more, trying to explain that she only admires him as a mage, and threatens to withhold water or support from the group if they keep teasing her. She walks away with a grumble as the others try to catch up while apologizing. Light and the others bring back their loot from the dungeon and give it to a woman at the shop. She enthusiastically thanks the group for their next big haul of Yeti magic stones from the 5th floor, grabbing handfuls of the stones with a look of joy. The woman asks if the boy wants some food or sake, but Light says that he is fine and that she should count the magic stones they collect. Gold and Nemumu stare with an unamused look as they know that the woman has such a change of attitude compared to the first time they bring in their loot on the first day, remembering how she accused them as frauds days ago and spat on them for their race. She flinches and quickly apologizes for her behavior by bowing, telling Light that she will warn all staff to not make the same mistake again, and begs the boy to not tell anyone about the situation. They even get promoted from F ranks to D ranks, and the woman pleads for the three to not change where they do their adventures since they bring back such valuable items. Water stones are used to freeze items and for research, which means they are in high demand, but it is already rare for people to reach the 5th floor where they are found, so it makes sense why the people at the shop are so suspicious of the group when they bring back a huge amount of them during their first day. Nemumu demands that they rank up more, but the woman explains that it is too early for them to have another rank up, and they need another major achievement before they can do something about it. Light hums in thought as the woman explains that there is a difficult quest being announced soon, catching the interest of the boy. A commotion that can be heard in the distance is a group of dwarves walking into the area, holding up wanted posters announcing that there is now an emergency quest in the name of the guild in the dungeon. There are mysterious deaths of adventurers, which are soon identified as murders. The group doesn't know what their motives and goals are, but the group of murderers is targeting humans and is likely to start harming other races if left alone. Throwing all of the posters into the air, the dwarf tells everyone that they now put a bounty on this adventurer killer to protect everyone's safety inside the dungeon. There is no information on them, which means that the guild will pay people for any little information they can get on them, gaining the interest of the three. Light grabs one of the posters and asks the woman if that is the quest she is talking about, to which she confirms. They walk away and Nemumu asks Light if they are going to capture these killers. Gold responds for the boy. The knight says that it is lucky for them to get such a quest at a time like this, even if they need to focus on their ranks. Light's face turns into a glare as he tells the other two that he is not planning on letting these killers do whatever they want. Back at their room in the inn, the three start to discuss what their plan will be regarding the quest. They don't have any information regarding the culprit, so Gold asks Light if he has anything from his gift that can help with identifying them. The boy does not have a clear answer himself about what cards his gift can produce, but he is sure that it won't be able to provide him with something that will help identify the culprit. While they continue to chat, the ground starts to rumble as black energy seems to appear in the room and warp the reality around it. Everyone gets ready to fight whatever comes out of it, but instead, someone falls out of it. A familiar face, in fact, Light catches the person, only to realize that it is an injured Mia, as he stares in confusion and concern the bracelet that he had given her started to glow before it broke apart and fell to the ground. The poor girl is barely conscious as she chokes out the words she has to tell him, but Light is too focused on trying to get Mia into bed and giving her first aid. Light notices that the bracelet he gave her is broken and wonders if her small miracle has activated, bringing her to him a few hours ago on the Daga's dungeon 1st floor. Irio and his group are shocked to hear about an adventurer murderer. They are told by another person that the culprit will make their move on the 2nd floor and are recommended to leave as soon as possible. As the others walk away, Mia looks up at her brother in fear and says that there is likely an elite mage among the killers, meaning that they won't even be a match against these people. Irio tells the others that they should listen to the warning and turn back, even if it would be a waste to return now. The sun is setting, which means that they have to hurry up in their escape due to it being more dangerous at night. They try to move away from the entrance of the second floor to lower their risk of bumping into the killers, but the group doesn't make as much progress as they plan. Everyone starts to talk with one another about what their next move should be until suddenly hooded people walk up to them and ask what they are doing there, shocking the group with their presence. Yanaku laughs and asks if they have run into trouble, but Irio explains that they are exhausted and need to stop. Mia grabs at her brother's clothes and says that they should warn the hooded people about the killers. Irio tells them about the rumors that have been spreading, and Kaito nods in understanding, explaining that they are looking for prey and notice Irio's group, not expecting the guild to have taken action so quickly. Yanaku admits that they would have put more effort into doing things quietly if they knew that the guild is actually going to do something about them, causing Irio and the others to be even more confused. Yanaku gives Yanaku a laugh and calls them slow to notice. Everyone feels fear course through their bodies as Kaito pulls out his sword, ready to start killing them. Irio is frozen for a moment, his body shaking, until he pulls out his sword and tells his sister to run away. The other two pull out their shields and weapons, telling Mia to listen to her brother while they buy some time. Kaito scoffs at the scene and charges forward to slice at Irio first, while Mia screams in fear and horror. A large gash is sliced through Irio's gut as he grunts in pain, blood spilling out of the wound. Mia cries for her brother while he falls to the ground as the other two call out for him, until Kaito comes forward again to slash at them, the wind pressure being enough to injure them severely. It is clear that the difference in levels is too high between their group and Kaito. Yanaku desperately tells Kaito to wait and not to kill them, but is interrupted by Wardy getting up and standing tall and proud, telling Mia once again to run. Gamura laughs and says that it is the first time he has heard Wardy shout like that, starting to get up himself despite bleeding heavily and saying that they can't lose to the elf. Mia cries out for them as Kaito scoffs in annoyance and cuts their bodies in half with one slice, causing the tops of their bodies to fall to the ground with a thump, leaving them dead. Yanaku stares with his mouth agape as he begs Kaito to stop killing all of them, since there won't be any test subjects left if he kills them all. But the blonde elf reminds him that he is going to kill anyone who makes futile struggles. The dark elf confirms that they agree on it, but explains that Kaito's temper is a bit short. However, Kaito tries to reassure that it is fine since there is still one left alive. Mia sits there frozen and silent with fear, still crying, while Yanaku sighs and says that while it is precious material to have a human mage, more young materials are always welcomed. The elf asks if he can have a bit of fun before they continue the experiments, confusing Yanaku, before Kaito clarifies that he has some pent-up feelings that he wants to release on the girl. The dark elf shrugs and says that she doesn't seem to desire it, but he doesn't care what Kaito does as long as he doesn't kill the girl and tells him to call him when he is finished. He walks up to the girl, but Mia glares with fear in her eyes as she begs for the elf to go away, confusing him. He stops in place and tells the girl that he is the future legendary hero. Kaito believes that human girls think of it as an honor and a dream to be embraced by an elf male, so he scratches his head in confusion as to why Mia is so afraid and trying to escape. He tells the girl to stop being so reserved and beg for him with tears of joy, but Kaito is interrupted by her brother getting up, still barely alive. Irio chokes out words, telling Mia to run away again as the elf turns around in confusion and anger. The boy looks at his dead friends and grits his teeth, struggling to stand on his arms and leaning on his sword while he pants for breath. Yanaku is impressed with the life force of Irio and tells Kaito to capture him without killing him, as he will become great material. Irio knows that he is likely to die with the wounds he has, but his only priority is making sure that his sister is okay. Glancing up with a warm smile at his sister who is crying out for him, his soft eyes tell her that he wants her to run away, and that is what she does. Mia continues to cry as she makes a break for it, Kaito turning around and ready to chase after her. Irio charges forward to slash at the elf. Kaito easily deflects it, upset to be interrupted, but Irio does not back down, which impresses the dark elf even more as he reminds Kaito not to kill him. The blonde elf looks forward with a bored and annoyed expression as Irio mutters words to himself, the lesson that Gold has taught them 2 weeks earlier. Irio recites Gold's teachings. In the enemy, ignore him for a moment and turn his head away and avert his eyes, making an opening for Irio to throw his sword toward Kaito. Due to the difference in level, it doesn't matter even if it hits, but thanks to Kaito ignoring Irio and focusing on dodging the attack without thinking, the boy is able to charge forward and swing his arms, striking the shield against the elf's face. Irio is able to use this chance to perform this attack against Kaido, even if he deals 0 damage in the end. The elf falls to the ground with a shocked look, silent for just that moment, as he stares blankly at Irio, the level 20 teenager on his last breath. Despite the difference in level, Irio stands over Kaido and gives a smug grin, saying that is what he deserves, believing that he has won just for that one action. Irio keeps his grin as Kaido grits his teeth, enraged by the situation and calling the boy inferior once again. In seconds, a summoned magic sword pierces Irio's gut, sending him flying into the air as he coughs up blood before falling to the ground, likely dead. Kaido is about to do more harm to the child until Yanaku stops him, saying he has done more than enough and should just go and catch the girl who is running away. If she gets out alive, information about them will be spread everywhere. Mia continues to run as fast as she can, breathing heavily from the exhaustion from crying and running. She needs to tell someone about the adventurer murderers and must stay alive since everyone has bought her time. She believes that if she is fast enough, she might make it out of the dungeon. However, that is not the case. Magical swords fly toward her, stopping her in her tracks. She screams in surprise and falls to the ground. Kaido flies in on one of the blades, admitting that she and her brother really gave him a run for his money. He tells Mia that he is going to teach her a proper attitude. She stares up in horror as Kaido looks proud at her surprise, explaining that the sword he holds is a phantom-grade sword once used by a master. Mia knows she cannot give up when everyone has given their lives for her to run away. She resolves to give her all to tell everyone about the murderers. She grabs her staff and starts chanting for blades of ice to manifest around her, sending them toward the alphas as a distraction while she continues running. Kaido easily slices through them, finding the situation annoying because of the ongoing chase. She keeps running, sending more and more icicles toward him, but Kaido decides he has had enough. He sends the blade he is standing on toward Mia and slashes through her leg, immobilizing her. Mia falls to the ground but remains determined to get out and tell someone. Kaido walks up to her and tells her to forget about the idea of running away and just give herself to him for the sake of the future hero. Instead of giving in, Mia glares and finally speaks, telling the elf that he is not a hero or a legend. He is a coward who loves bullying the weak, so far from a hero that he is nothing more than a loser. Kaido feels something snap inside him, remembering all the people back in the Elf Kingdom who told him the exact same things and looked down on him. He yells at Mia to shut up, summoning many magical blades in a rage, intending to kill her. The girl stares up with fear in her eyes as she realizes she is about to die, but she does not want that to happen yet. She has to tell Light. She cannot die until she tells him. In seconds, a black void appears and swallows Mia in an instant. Mia vanishes while Kaido wonders how a lowly human can channel transportation magic. He can't believe his prey has escaped, and as he goes back to report this to Yanaku, the situation gets serious as Yanaku fears that the news of them being on a rampage will reach the Elven Kingdom and they will be doomed. They can't stop thinking about how the captain of the White Knights will be coming after them, and just by thinking about the captain's strength, both of them shit their pants right away. After thinking for a brief moment, Yanaku and Kaido decide to maintain some distance from the Elven Kingdom in order to avoid any punishments. But to their surprise, a bone-chilling voice tells them they are not going anywhere. It's Light, and looking at the severed heads of Gamura and Wardy, he seems quite enraged. Looking at Light standing in front of him, Kaido is shocked since he could not even sense his presence. However, Light finds the dead body of Gamura and Wardy. He sits beside them, while Gold brings Irio in his arms, who is seriously wounded but still alive. Gold has provided Irio with some first aid, while Yanaku is shocked to see all of this happening in front of him. Light does not know why anyone would make innocent people suffer so badly. It's a world where humans are discriminated for no apparent reason. And yet Irio and his comrades tried so hard as adventurers to hold on to their last breath while earning money to send Mia to mage school. Light simply does not understand why innocent people are fated to meet such an unreasonable end. He regrets not spending much time with them and thinks about how he could have become friends with them if he had met them as a child. It's something that will never come true. Nemunu is as sad as him, while Light tells Yanaku and Kaido that he will never forgive them ever. Yanaku tries to defend himself, saying that he also tried his best to heal Irio and his comrades, but Light tells him not to play dumb, as he used hypnotism on Mia and asked her everything after healing her. Hearing this, Kaido loses his mind, and Yanaku realizes they have been reported to the guild already. Light says that he is much more interested in hunting them down by himself, and hearing this, Kaido becomes excited, as he thinks he is lucky enough to kill the one and only idiot who knows about his misdeeds. He thinks of himself as someone who is blessed by the goddess and is fated to become a legendary hero. Light tells him he is extremely wrong, as he will be a stabbing stone for him to climb up to the adventurer ranks. He tells Kaido that he will make him feel the exact pain that he made Irio and his comrades go through. He threatens to kill the elf, saying his death is certain, as he clenches his fists in rage, promising to kill every single one of them with his own hands without any mercy. Light tells Gold and Nemunu strictly to stay away from the battle he is going to fight against the pathetic elves. Kai cannot believe he is being called a stepping stone of an inferior race. As he thinks of himself as the legendary hero, he starts shouting and throwing insults at Light, telling him that he will kill him and skin him alive. The next moment, Kaido grabs his massive sword and prepares to attack Light. He jumps in the air, swinging his massive weapon, and slams it downwards to launch his attack. However, to his surprise, Light blocks his attack with just one arm, as if it's nothing, leaving both the elves completely shocked. Out of frustration, Kaido tries his best to attack Light over and over again, but to his surprise, Light dodges his attack like a badass, while Kaido struggles to catch a breath. Kaido decides to land one final blow. He jumps in the air with a roar, planning to strike Light on his head with his massive sword. As his sword moves through the air, Light shocks Yanaku to his core by blocking Kaido's attack once again. Light calls Kaido a boor who's relying on raw strength. He calls his fighting technique pretty boring, and glaring through his miserable soul with his sharp gaze, he hits Kaido in the chest with his staff, sending him flying away and causing him to crash on the ground on his ugly face. He calls Kaido a weak, pathetic loser who will just die before he can even handle the suffering Light has planned for him. Light asks Kaido to try a bit harder. He taunts him by calling him the so-called legendary hero, making him extremely pissed off. Seems like Kaido has activated his rage mode. He once again calls Light an inferior person who dares to make a fool out of him. He summons his great sword once again, and as he raises it above his head, he summons hundreds of magical swords around him, claiming he will turn Light's body into a beehive, and with a roar, goes on to attack him once again. Kaido thinks of Light as an inferior being. His attack shakes the ground, leaving Light completely shocked. Even though Light dodges the attack, the ground is completely shattered. His attacks are magical, and it's not just one type of attack. In each sword, Kaido has delivered a different type of magical attack. Yanaku thinks the attacks launched by Kaido are extremely ferocious, and a human cannot simply withstand them. He starts thinking about the ranks of armaments, and how the giant sword being carried by Kaido belongs to the Phantom class, which is easily in the top 3. He also thinks about Kaido using different magical effects in each of his magical swords, and once again he comes to the conclusion that such are the attacks that a human could simply never stand against. Kaido's attacks deliver massive output. Not even monsters with a similar level as a human knight can come out unscathed. If someone is unlucky enough to get hit with even one of his attacks, they might not be able to move. However, for Light, it's completely different. The next second, Kaido launches another attack, but Light blocks it like a badass. Kai cannot understand what's going on, while Yanaku is even more shocked to see a mere human boy blocking an elf's attack. Yanaku thinks this shit is impossible. He starts doubting Light being a human. Meanwhile, Kaido starts telling Light how he hates cowardly inferiors like him for lowering the opponent's guard with magician cards. Light says he is a magician, but Kaido does not believe him. Light is not trying to play dumb, although his frontline combat techniques aren't at the level of a specialist. With his unlimited gacha gift, he can use magic beyond the first level of a magician. He can be known as the magician of the unlimited cards, and it's a job that simply does not exist in the other world. Preparing to attack once again, he decides to show Kaido that he's not a bloody magician, summoning ice swords with his magic without chanting any magic spell. He scares Kaido with his skills. Kaido shits his pants to see such a deadly sight, and cannot believe that he got his ass kicked by a magician all this time. He starts cursing at Light, threatening him not to fight him, and says that no matter how many ice swords Light brings, his giant sword will always be unstoppable. As they both go on to attack each other at the same time, Kaido becomes surprised to see Light's magical swords canceling out the attack of his giant sword. Kaido's magical sword and Light's magical sword start exploding in the air like firecrackers. Kaido watches in shock while Light stares right through his soul, while Kaido simply struggles to understand what's even happening. When he refuses to give up, he grunts in anger and summons his swords once again, while Light does the same. They both continue their battle like unkillable beasts, while Yanaku simply cannot understand how the ice swords being used by Light are filled with an unbelievable amount of magical energy, and are perfectly controlled to precisely counter Kaido's attacks. He closely looks at Light's fighting techniques and realizes that he is extremely good at controlling his magical attacks, and his skill surpasses the level of even elven magicians. Light thinks how he worked extremely hard to learn manipulation magic. He still has a long way to go. Even so, there's also the fact that Kaido's sword is just a phantom-class sword, and the clones of the sword have the same power as his ice swords. Kaido's swords can manifest without consuming the user's magical energy, and are slightly better than a phantom class. Light decides to stop playing around and wrap things up as soon as possible. Kaido simply cannot believe struggling against an inferior race. He shouts saying that his weapon is the national treasure of the Elven Kingdom gifted to him by the heavens. Light and his party become extremely shocked to hear this. He asks him if he even knows about the master who he claimed gifted him the sword. Kaido smiles, but Light repeats his question. And Kaido goes on to make a foolish statement saying that he is the descendant of a master who is destined to become a hero in the future who will inherit the god's lineage. Light and his comrades stand in shock. Knowing that Kaido belongs to the master's bloodline, Light thinks he has got some incredible knowledge. He immediately changes his plan and orders his comrades to take the elves to the abyss. He says they will kill their enemies later, but investigate them first. He orders Gold and Nemomu to take on the dark elf, Yanaku, and capture him alive. Gold and Nemomu prepare for the battle right away while Yanaku tells them that despite being a scientist, he might not be good at fighting, but even if he were to give it his best, they won't be able to comprehend his strength. The next second, the human corpses lying beside them start turning into giant, ferocious monsters. Light and his comrades become shocked, and as two giant monsters stand tall in the battlefield, Yanaku says that they are called chimeras, hybrid human monsters. He introduces both of his creations to Gold and Nemomu, saying that both of these subjects of his experiments have succeeded in surpassing the limits of human growth. The problem is that Yanaku does not have enough humans for his experiments. In the future, he aims to complete his experiments with a single human body and to break the growth limit via artificial fusion of species. He says that he wants to create warriors with his own hands and is willing to use as many humans as possible for his experiments. Light orders his comrades to kill the two monsters. He tells them not to let the dark elf escape and to get as much information from him as possible. Gold and Nemomu agree with their master, but Yanaku calls them a fool for calling him a bastard. He decides to show the sublimity of his research in a way that even the human brain cannot comprehend. Meanwhile, Nemomu and Gold advance forward with lightning speed. In a moment, both the giant monsters turn into lifeless corpses and fall to the ground, while Gold and Nemomu stand right before Yanaku with soaring confidence. However, to their surprise, Yanaku is not worried. His monsters start reforming and regenerating as he starts laughing like a demon, saying it's not possible to kill his subjects. Meanwhile, Light ignores Kaido for a moment and gets called out on it, so he decides to end this right now. Kaido is surging with rage. He curses Light, saying he will crush him with his giant sword and its biggest and strongest technique. Light is extremely shocked to see such a powerful attack, and at the same time his comrades seem to have a hard time subduing the giant monsters. Nemomu and Gold talk to each other during battle. Gold teases her saying she is having a hard time killing such lowly monsters, while he is fighting like a badass, and dominating the field with his skills even while fighting with his one-armed army, and also protecting Irio at the same time. Yanaku tells them it's useless, and their unexpectedly good moves are not good enough to defeat his subjects at all costs. He tells them to surrender so that he will be easy on them during his experiments, while Gold and Nemomu decide to wrap up things as soon as possible so that they do not have to make their beloved lord wait. Nemomu also decides to launch a big attack. Yanaku starts laughing at both of them, calling their skills completely bullshit, but Nemomu and Gold summon their strongest attacks and launch a joint strike infused with magic. Both the monsters turn into rubble and fall to the ground while Yanaku keeps laughing, saying that they are completely fooled if they think they can kill something that's simply not killable. He orders his monsters to rise, but they don't even move an inch and he becomes terrified. Yanaku cannot believe his eyes. He sits by the corpse of his subjects wondering what has even happened while Nemomu kicks him in the back, calling him a fool. Yanaku realizes he's been badly defeated. He falls to the ground while Gold asks Nemomu if she doesn't think she went too far. Nemomu denies it and walks away, saying she needs a new pair of boots when they go back. Meanwhile, the battle between the giants is still going on. Kaido prepares his massive attack to take down Light, saying he will make Light regret making a fool out of him. He launches his attack, but Light dodges it efficiently. Light lands on the ground, asking Kaido if that's the best he can do, calling Kaido's attack petty tricks. Kaido refuses to fall for the rage blade. He swings his sword once again, while Light realizes that in spite of being huge, the speed of Kaido's sword keeps increasing, making him wonder if it's closer to a magical weapon. As Light continues to dodge the attack, he thinks about how Kaido's weapon might look flashy and awesome, calling it a street performance. Kaido becomes extremely frustrated to hear this. He calls Light a cowardly inferior and starts cursing once again. He just wants to land one attack on Light's body, as he knows if his attack connects, it would be easy to kill Light. To his surprise, Light stands in front of him, opening his arms completely defenseless. Fearing he will attack, Kaido calls him a pain in the ass and attacks him with his giant sword, calling him an idiot as well. However, the sword strikes against Light's shoulder and surprisingly stops right there. Light tells Kaido he can try attacking all he wants, and Kaido continues hitting Light with his massive blade, continuously telling Light to die and don't look down on him. He keeps throwing insults at his opponents, and yet Light stands completely unscathed while Kaido starts giving in. The stupid elf cannot understand why his so-called national treasure of the Elven Kingdom is not able to take down a mere human. Light finally hits back with his magical attack, forcing Kaido to step back, and seeing this, Light decides to put an end to his misery as well. Light attacks the elf brat in his belly with his magical stuff and goes on to kick on his pathetic face, sending him flying away. Kaido falls to the ground like a defenseless bitch bleeding from his nose, while Light walks up to him, telling him he should look forward to intense torture as he won't kill Kaido but question him. Kaido starts begging for his life. He begs Light not to kill him, saying he is a member and candidate of the Elven Kingdom's commander. He says that he has a lot of confidential information that he can give out, and even offers to give his giant sword to save his own life. Light asks him why he doesn't resist, as he claimed to be a hero. He reminds Kaido how Irio and his comrades fought to their last breaths, and never gave up in any situation, so they are the ones who deserve to be called heroes, not a stupid elf like him who is already on his knees. Kaido explains how his giant sword feared to leave a scratch on him, which means there was no point in fighting, which is why he is asking Light to negotiate with him. Ironically, Kaido demands to be greeted with respect, and as Nemomu gives Kaido's giant sword to Light, he throws it on the ground in front of Kaido, saying he wants to have another one. Light dares Kaido to hit him again, and swears to let him go even if he manages to leave a single scratch on his skin. He tells Kaido to show his power, while Kaido becomes confused as he repeats his words how he is willing to give up confidential information and even the national treasure. Light tells him to pick up the sword and fight like a man, and act like the hero he wants to be. He wants to see the limits of Kaido, and as Kaido gets up, he starts crying like a baby and running away, saying this must be a dream, and being the future hero, he cannot understand why he is being made to suffer like this. Suddenly, a solar ray pierces through his thigh, leaving him badly injured. The stupid elf brat collapses on the ground, while Light walks up to him, saying he is not courageous, not a hero, but a loser escaping reality. After a few moments, Light is seen covering up the human corpses with a clean white cloth, saying he will bury them at their villages to make sure they get the proper final funeral. He looks at Yanaku and realizes that he is the same person who tried cutting in the line of the dungeon entrance over a month ago. Hearing this, Gold starts praising Light's strong memory, while the elves lose their minds as they tried their best to hide their entities. However, Light doesn't care explaining. He uses his magic and teleports everyone back at the abyss, where we find Yanaku and Kaido shitting his pants on knowing that they have been teleported to a great distance from the dungeon. Nemomu and Gold tell them to shut their mouths, while Mei joins them with a smile, asking Light if he wants her to prepare some tea. Iri, Aiyuki, and Nazuna are all excited to see their master, but the moment Light reveals that they are supposed to extract information from Kaido and Yanaku, since they have killed many innocent humans, the demeanor of all the women change instantly. Mei tells Light not to worry, as she will make sure to make the elves regret being even born. Iri says she will surpass all the taboos of the torture, while Nazuna and Aiyuki also give the same reaction to see stupid elves going against their lord. Light tells everyone that no one will touch the elves unless he extracts all the information from them. He appoints Gold to heal Irio and asks Nemomu to help him bury Gamura and Wardy. Suddenly, Yanaku starts saying he was threatened by Kaido to do those filthy experiments. He asks to be spared, but Light denies his stupid claims, saying it's time to start the investigation already, while the elf starts crying and begging for his life like a bitch. Later at Colonel's Inn, Mia wakes up and finds Light sitting by her side, who greets her good morning. Light tells her a fabricated story. He says he and his party went to the dungeon where they found Mia being chased by the elves who were on guards. Light adds that the elves escaped to the depths of the dungeon while he brought her back to the inn. He also tells her about her brother being injured and recovering at the hospital as well. Mia is happy to hear this, but suddenly, Light gives her 2 rolled papers. Upon opening them, she finds hair inside, and Light says the hairs are of Gamura and Wardy, whom he failed to save or bring back their dead bodies. Mia is helpless. All she can do is show gratitude despite being broken to her core. She is happy to have some remains of her comrades after all and can't stop her tears. She keeps crying, and Light becomes upset to see this. He gets out of the room, yet he can still hear Mia cry. He regrets being strong, while Mia continues to mourn for her deceased friends. Later, due to the Adventure Killer case, 2 things occur. First, Light provides information about the culprit, which is evaluated, and the Adventurer Guild raises his rank by 1. He thinks he needs to deliver the corpse of the Adventurer Killer as evidence, but based on the information alone, he is able to raise his rank to rank C. At the inn, we see Mia and Irio enjoying a cup of tea with Light. They announce that they have decided to give up being adventurers and go back to their hometown. Irio says he has already sold most of his adventurer equipment, and both of them start thanking Light for saving their lives. Light reminds them that they also gave him the burned medicine and thanks them as well. He knows Mia was saved because of the bracelet he gave her, and he was able to save Irio because of Yanaku giving first aid to preserve him for his human experiment. He knows he cannot do everything just because he is strong. Light asks them if they can team up with other adventurers and continue exploring the dungeons, but Mia says that they have already rejected some offers. She gets sad that she is scared of entering dungeons ever again and is not willing to do that shit anymore. Irio says he does not want to continue being an adventurer without his old friends. Mia says that it would be difficult to enter the magic school, but she plans on working hard and continuing her studies on her own. She excitingly invites Light to visit her hometown, assuring a warm welcome, while Gold says he will enjoy the sake at their hometown. Mia smiles, saying that she will be waiting for Light to visit her later at the same inn after Irio and Mia leave. Gold acknowledges the mental trauma both siblings are going through. He knows they have to work hard to find their new paths and suggests meeting them from time to time. Light agrees and says that he will make sure to act as Gold says. He knows there will be a time when both siblings will give everything to overcome their obstacles and says he will. Light decides to go back to the abyss for some time. He activates his teleportation magic. After a few moments back at the abyss, May thanks Light for taking time out of his busy schedule, while Iri also thanks him, saying she is extremely happy to meet him. Light is also happy to see both of his subordinates and asks about Kaido and Yanaku. Iri tells him that she used her forbidden magic to scan their brains, while May says the same, saying Iri has gotten the memories of the elves as well. To get more accurate information, on a piece of paper, May presents all the information that she has extracted from the elves. And as Light takes a look at the information, he finds out information about the blood of the Master and his descendants being able to have high magic power and great strength. He finds out that the reason why the Master is being treated with precaution by different countries is that, if neglected, the possibility arises where the world can be destroyed. The idea of the whole world getting destroyed confuses Light a bit. He thinks that the countries are aiming for military balance, and even if the Master is strong enough, they would be alone in the end. However, Light is curious about the goal of this so-called Master. He asks both the ladies about their opinion, but May says they really cannot say anything because of the lack of information. Iri says that the possibility of the whole world being destroyed was discussed by the White Knight captain of the Elf Kingdom, and she tried getting inside the brain of the elf to find more about this, but she could not find any more information. Light thinks further investigation is useless. He asks his subordinates about the state of the elves, and Iri says that it's time to bring this to an end, as they have already gotten the information they could. Light has not forgiven the pathetic creatures for attacking Mia and Irio. He still is angry about them performing experiments on humans and thinks they committed mass murder of humans. Out of anger, he uses his magic to bring the death of both of the elves. He releases the Feast of the Dead, a monster with dozens of skulls that start attacking and biting the flesh of the elves from all directions while they scream in pain and agony. Even though Light is not satisfied by this, he cannot do anything else either. He decides to go through the information once again, and Iri says she wants to tell him something. She shares that the revenge preparations against Sasha are all completed, and that she is prepared to carry it out on just one order from her lord. She also reveals that Sasha the elf has a fiancé who is the vice captain of the White Knights, and to make up for the rest of the information, they can kidnap that fiancé and extract information out of his brain as well. Hearing this, Light becomes happy. He immediately tells Eri to proceed with the plan, and as he thinks about that elf bitch, he tells himself how he can finally get his revenge on her. He sits back in his chair like a boss, wondering what expression Sasha would make when he makes her experience despair. The scene shifts to the Elf Kingdom, where Sasha, sitting in a garden, explains how she is an illegitimate child of a noble man who fell in love with a common woman. She explains after her mother died, she went on to become an adventurer and was always looked down on by her half-sibling and stepmother. But for some reason, the hate towards her stopped, and everyone started adoring her. It's simply because she got engaged to the vice-captain of the White Knight. She talks about how she betrayed Light. Remembering the terrifying expression on Light's face, she lights up with a smile. And for killing an individual of the human race who was the so-called master of the world, Sasha was rewarded by being engaged to the vice-captain. She says that she would have loved her fiancé, Michael, to see the expressions of Light, and Michael seems to agree with her. Michael says that he loves it when humans beg for their lives. He thinks it's just fun, and Sasha says Light did the same when he was about to die. Michael is grateful to have met someone like Sasha in his life. Sasha is also feeling blessed to have someone like Michael by her side, as it feels like a dream for her. After a few moments, a carriage stops in front of their residence, and Sasha gets inside. She bids farewell to her lover while the woman sitting inside the carriage hopes Sasha and her fiancé will stay together for the rest of their lives. The woman tells Sasha that the time of her marriage will come really fast. She tells her to take the best care of herself, and Sasha agrees. Suddenly, the carriage stops moving, and Sasha becomes angry. The driver explains that the human slave dropped all of his belongings on the highway, causing the carriage to stop. The next moment, a poor human is found on the ground begging for a small break while the elf is beating the hell out of him with a whip. Seeing this, Sasha starts thinking about how pathetic and weak humans are. She is happy that Light was a fake master, otherwise she would have to use her body to keep him close to her. Looking at the crowd, she finds a boy walking into a dark alley who reminds her of Light. It's actually Light, but Sasha is not sure. She immediately gets out of her carriage and chases after the boy, hoping what she is believing is a complete lie. She runs to the entrance of the street, hoping she saw it all wrong. At the end of the street, she finds a dead end, thinking there is nowhere someone can hide. Realizing that she made a mistake, she becomes a bit relaxed, thinking it's been 3 years and that a human body would definitely grow to some extent in that period. Which means the one she saw was definitely not Light. She thinks she confused herself with another human kid. But on the wall by her side, she finds a paper from Light, telling her that he will be waiting for her at the giant tower. As Sasha reads the paper, she becomes terrified and her soul leaves her body. She cannot believe it as she remembers killing Light with her own hands. She starts remembering all the great things she has achieved in her life as a count's daughter, and fears losing everything if anyone finds out that Light is still alive. She does not want to be looked down on by her half-siblings, and out of frustration, she starts pulling her hair, telling herself that she has to actually kill that little brat to pave the path of success for herself. However, she does not know the location of the giant tower. Unbeknownst to her, Light and Eri are watching her from a distance. Eri says that for hurting Light, she will make sure to engrave despair in every inch of Sasha's body and make her soul break, causing her to lose her mind and become crazy. Light smiles to hear her. He leaves the job to her, while Eri says that it's just the start of the revenge. Among all the orders of knights in the Elven Kingdom, there is one of them which is stronger than most. All the other orders cannot win against that particular order, and that order is the White Knight's order commanded by Captain Hardy. Other than that, Sharfat, Mast, and Kia are also members of the same Knight Order, and currently they seem to be torturing a human by tying him to a trunk of the tree. One of them talks to Captain Hardy about Kaido acting like a stupid brat, thinking of himself as the legendary hero. They mention how Kaido has been on a rampage in the dwarf dungeon, after which he was caught by a human and ran away. It seems that they believe Kaido and Yanaku have escaped to the depths of the dungeons. Sharfet thinks that the top does not want any more trouble for themselves, so they are going to throw in their own people. Mast becomes surprised to hear this. He says orders from the top are absolute, and that they must clean up the mess caused by the former member of their order. Turns out, Sharfet cannot stop simping for Sosha. Nia and Kia still cannot get enough of torturing the poor human. Sharfet tells them to kill the human already, but the twins argue, saying they bought him with their money as a slave. Mast stops both of them from their stupid argument and asks the elf twins to kill the human immediately. One of the twins says that the human would rather suffer than live any longer, and it would be better if they go extinct. Sharfet tells the twin that he might get hurt because of his stupid brain someday, and both of them start calling each other stubborn. Hardy tells all of them to shut their pathetic mouths, saying they make his tea taste bad. He does not want them to slow down their killing ability, and the next moment, the captured human gets killed. Hardy orders Nia and Kia to clean up the body, and Mass to clean up the yard. Sharfet apologizes to Sosha for scaring her, while Hardy comments how Kaido has a very bad attitude and lacks character. He wants to take care of things by himself and does not want to disgrace the king. Sharfet knows that Kaido was supposed to be the next commander of the Night Order, but he had already reached his limits. Hardy asks if he aims to be the next commander, but he refuses, saying that if he knew what the commander was capable of, he would never do it, as he knows that every submaster who awakens their so-called master blood goes through some painful path. He knows having master blood in one's body does not make them strong. By awakening their blood, those who have the blood of the master will easily break through the growth limits of the elves and become extraordinary beings, which is why they are called submasters. The White Knights are an interdimensional order, but being a submaster does not mean they can grow indefinitely. The upper limit depends on how much blood one awakens. Except for Mast, the rest of the group has stopped growing. It's a fact that Kaido could not accept. All of these things are confidential, known only to a few. Hardy tells Sharfet to not take a human as his lover, or else his blood will be stained. Sharfet says that he is just having fun with the woman, as he just loves to see her excited to get selected by an elf. He says that he plans to get rid of her by shooting her in the face while she is running away from the town. Hardy thinks about the Imperial Order, which would require them to kill Kaido. However, in the end, the order to subjugate Kaido has been postponed. A few days later, at midnight, not far from the capital of the Elven Kingdom, a mysterious tower reveals itself out of thin air in an open grass field. The mysterious tower in the depths of the thick forest where high-level monsters reside is quite confusing. The monsters are flooding the highway, causing logistics to be blocked, and the White Knights have been mobilized to secure the path for the travelers. It seems like the monsters are running away from the mysterious tower. And since the knights are too busy securing the highway, the adventurers are being sent to investigate the tower with high rewards if they bring any information. For some reason, despite numerous attempts, no adventurer has been able to make it to the tower. The elves cannot believe that even the monsters are scared of going back to their homes, and the adventurers are not caring about their rewards anymore. We find a party of 3 elves trying to reach the tower using a human as bait. It's a young human girl, and they cannot believe they are using her to lead their way. The elves plan to use the girl as a decoy and run away if anything comes up. They keep a close eye on the movement of the little girl, continuously throwing insults and abuse at her, telling her to keep moving. The girl begs them not to hit her, but these stupid bastards keep shouting at the poor soul. The elves plan to buy more humans to use them as bait. They think of humans as livestock. Suddenly, as soon as they reach a certain place in the forest, giant monsters of terrifying appearance start appearing from behind them, surrounding them completely. The elves and the human lose their minds. They simply do not know what is happening, and death is right in front of them. The monsters are hellhounds. They devour the elves cruelly, but leave the girl unscathed and go away. The girl is confused, but then she finds something extremely strange as a group of men come to her, saying that they did not expect to pick up a free slave in the middle of a forest. The girl becomes sad. She thinks the men would save her life and regrets not being eaten alive by the monster. She fears that she is going to get violated, while the men start to talk about how much they will be able to sell the slave for. Magically, one of them heals all the wounds of the poor girl, telling her not to walk around barefoot. They decide to make a walking stick for her and ask her to wait, and also to take a bath. They even offer to make the poor girl a healthy meal, while Ayuki watches them from the tower. The next moment, Iri joins her and asks how it is going. She tells Ayuki to enjoy it to the fullest, as it's a great opportunity to clean up the problem, and reminds her how they have been instructed to save any humans if the monsters start behaving in an atrocious manner. However, Light has left the decision to kill monsters to Ayuki. Iri knows that Light is trying to use this opportunity to test the abilities of his comrades. Thinking about the men with the weird hairstyles, Iri wonders if they will make some mistake while following their plan. She thinks about giving them a warning, but then decides to keep a close eye on them instead. She is not sure what to do, and Ayuki tells her that it's disrespectful for them to assume the idea of their lord. Iri says that it's their duty to be loyal to their lord, but Ayuki thinks that they should just be what their lord desires them to be. Ayuki thinks that everything they do should be as per the liking of Light, and anything else is unnecessary and unacceptable. Iri thinks it's being a pet. while Ayuki counters her, saying that if she caused trouble for Light, she will kill her. Iri asks if she really thinks she can beat her, but Ayuki dares her to try it herself. They both activate their intense skill intent, but then go calm. Iri flies away, saying that she would be happy to arrange another heart-to-heart discussion if the opportunity arises. On the other hand, the people with weird hairstyles report to Ayuki that they left the girls safely with a merchant. After receiving a new order from Ayuki, the men start discussing how humans are treated so badly that they use humans as bait. These men with weird hairstyles are Light's companions who were summoned from the infinite gacha cards. They scatter across the surface to gather information. And now they believe that humans actually sell their own kind to other races for money. One of them says that it's just that the morals of the other 8 species are all over the place, and their leader tells them to keep their words and voices in moderation. The leader announces they are moving southwest and forbids his men from sleeping. These men are supposed to work together, with the monsters being controlled by Ayuki. Later at night, Sasha is throwing a tantrum in her room. She cannot believe that she is supposed to go to the giant tower, about which she came to know through a friend of hers. She is even more frustrated to read about the weird monsters being found in the forest and cannot believe that she is supposed to go there all by herself. She does not want to waste her time, and if the secret of Light gets revealed, it would be a big disaster for her. She decides to get a skilled escort and reach the mysterious tower at all costs, and this time she plans to kill Light with her own hands once and for all. Back at the Elven capital, the Prime Minister is scolding Captain Hardy for still not having any proper information about the mysterious tower. He is angry about the disturbance in the logistical path, and the people are suffering because of it. He wants to know why the White Knights have not done anything yet, and wants them to enter combat as soon as possible, since they are the strongest order in the kingdom, and the Queen does not want the people to suffer anymore. Hardy replies calmly, saying that he simply cannot enter combat without proper information. The Prime Minister calls him a weak knight, but Hardy says that it might be easy for the ministers in the palace to forge documents as per incomplete information, but he cannot dispatch troops on unreliable information. He explains the importance of the information, saying that if they are not able to hit the enemy, they won't be able to secure any victory. Other ministers cut off, calling both of them stupid for fighting for their own opinion. The Queen joins the conversation. She sides with Captain Hardy and commands the rewards for the adventurers to be increased so that they can gather more information. Hardy agrees with her and leaves the courtroom, while the Prime Minister tells him that he is lucky. Hardy goes back to his room, and a woman comes up to him. It's the Queen, and Hardy thanks her, calling her mother, since she prevented him from entering the forest without any information. The Queen does not want her beloved son to do some stupid things because of a stupid Prime Minister. Hardy wants to put the old man in his place, while the Queen apologizes for the foolishness of the Prime Minister. As she knows, he cannot do whatever he wants as long as Hardy is around. However, the Queen is also disturbed by the mysterious tower, as monsters are on a rampage ever since it appeared. She knows it can be a huge trouble in the future, and Hardy wonders if it's the return of the Demon King. The Queen does not agree with this and says that even if that was the case, a hero would be born. Hardy asks if heroes are only born from the human race. He also mentions another candidate who was supposed to be the so-called master 3 days ago. He is talking about Light. The Queen knows that Light was killed, and that there has not been a candidate to become a master since then. Hardy expresses how he would have made Light understand how weak humans were if he were on that mission, and says that humans only bring harm to their world, as history has always proven. Humans are a danger to this world by the birth of a master, so he wants all the 8 races to make an alliance and exterminate every single human. Later, near the forest, Light visits the place where adventurers are staying. It's right outside the forest, and the adventurers are here to investigate the so-called mysterious tower. Just then, Light and his comrades get spotted by some other people. They recognize Light as the one who was known as the Black Clown in the dwarf dungeon. Light says they must have a meeting to enter the Old Groove Forest, and this publicly stunned Light is also a part of the plan for his revenge on that bitch named Sasha. The very next second, Light and his comrades spot a group of elves, and he knows they're trying to kill him. Light stays calm, but Nemomu loses her calm, while Gold teases her, saying that the elves are trying to flirt with Nemomu. Light calls both of them to start the meeting. He strictly tells both of them to not even lay a finger on Sasha. Just then, Sasha arrives out of nowhere. She looks at Light from behind and immediately calls out for him. Nemomu stops her from interrupting their meeting, while Sasha tells her to stay out of it and asks Light to show his face to her. Light has been waiting for this moment. Their exchange of words causes a commotion, while Light says that the mask is supposed to cover his burns and cannot show his face to anyone. Sasha does not give a fuck. She tries to use force as expected, and with a slap, she hits Light on his face, causing his mask to fly away. As the mask flies away, Sasha looks at Light's face. Light is using magic to create an illusion to make it seem that his face is actually burned. Sasha becomes disgusted. She tells him to immediately cover his face, and turns around, saying that this is why she hates inferior races. She tells herself that there is no way Light should be alive, as it's been 3 years. She knows for some reason Light might still be in the mysterious tower, and she has to get there no matter what. She wants to kill him and break bank information for the tower, and wants to contribute to the kingdom as the fiancé of the White Knight Vice Commander. She had asked her fiancé to let her become an adventurer once again, while Light thinks about how this bitch is acting like she treats humans fairly. He thinks about how his time has been wasted, and he needs to move quickly in order to increase his rank as an adventurer. He continues pretending as one, but in truth, he's going to group up with Iri in a place to carry out his plan. As Light continues to move through the forest with his comrades, he tells the elves following him that it would be dangerous if they get closer and might cost them their life. The elves do not believe him, saying that they are not going to let him leave just like that. Light ignores these bastards and continues his journey, and as he reaches the destination, the elves catch up with him in no time. Light is surprised they caught up. Gold thinks it would be a shame for such young talent to die, while the elves threat to kill them instead. Light decides to end this right away. He does not want to leave any corpse behind, and the elves say that they know Light is the one known as the Black Clown. The elves tell Light to not be so full of himself, and since he is an inferior, they want him to kneel in front of them and beg for his life. Unbeknownst to them, a tall, terrifying figure rises behind them. Her name is Mira, and she is one of Light's subordinates. She tells the elves that they will die for being rude to her lord. She tells them not to beg for their life, as she catches them with her huge fangs and goes on to feast on their flesh. In a moment, the elves disappear into thin air, while Light says thanks to Mira. She smiles, saying that she will do it 1,000 times for the sake of her lord, while Gold finds her pretty scary. Mira tells Gold to not be scared of her, as they are friends. Just then, another baddie joins, introducing herself as Ice Heat. She says that she and her comrades want to be useful to their master after all. Suzu and Jack agree with her, while Light smiles to see all of them. Ice, Heat, and everyone else offer their belated greetings to their master and announce that they are at his service always. Ice Heat apologizes to Light for not moving fast enough, but Light quickly reassures her, telling her he already admires her dedication to their mission. Before the moment can settle, Ice Heat suddenly snaps at Suzu, telling her to greet Light properly, and the flustered girl bows her head while apologizing for being shy. Light remains calm as always and urges everyone to move swiftly. Along the way, he meets Jack, whom he views as an older brother, and Jack admits he simply cannot stand around doing nothing while everyone else contributes. He even asks Gold if he has been taking proper care of Light, but the moment he casually uses Light's name, every subordinate turns toward him with a deadly glare. Jack fires back immediately, saying they are so stiff and formal all the time that Light gets bored and lonely, and he refuses to let that happen. Light steps in, telling everyone to relax, and his attention drifts to Ice Heat, who is, strangely enough, wearing a maid costume. When he asks why, she explains that May has been training her, but she finds the outfit terribly uncomfortable. Mira instantly jumps in with a teasing comment about stripping it off, sending Ice Heat into a frenzy as she shouts that she would never do something stupid in front of her master. Their back-and-forth bickering continues, and Light can't help thinking about how close everyone is despite being completely different personalities. His focus shifts to Suzu, the quiet one always carrying a musket. Despite her shy nature, she is an incredibly skilled gunner capable of firing at unimaginable speeds, though Light still has no idea what her gender is supposed to be. Soon, the entire group arrives at the giant tower where Ellie and Ayuki step forward to greet Light. He tells them he wants to speak inside, and Ellie reveals she has cast magic throughout the tower interior, reassuring him not to worry and to make himself at home. Inside, the place is enormous, lined with endless pillars stretching into the distance, leaving Light genuinely shocked. His amazement only grows when he spots a massive, ferocious dragon, and Ellie casually explains that it is her pet, summoned because it will play a key role in her plan. She urges the group to head to the top floor, and the scene shifts to Light seated on his throne while all of his subordinates bow before him. Ellie, brimming with excitement, begins explaining her elaborate plan for their revenge. It's clear everyone is ready to help Light settle the score with Sasha. Ellie reports that all preparations are complete. She intends for Light to rank up as an adventurer and also plans to use the strongest knight order of the Elf Kingdom. For that, she needs Light's permission to let his subordinates unleash their magical power to its fullest extent, as she wants to confirm their strength on the surface and not just within their dungeons. Ellie continues, explaining that their strategy will weaken the Elf Kingdom and allow them to gauge how the rest of the world reacts. She even reveals that the tower itself doesn't matter much, and they can sacrifice it if needed. She then unveils the lure that ties everything together, the dragon on the first floor. She knows Sasha cannot resist investigating such a powerful beast appearing near her hometown, and once she approaches the tower, everything will fall perfectly into place. Right on cue, we see Sasha outside the tower, staring at the dragon and wondering how Light could be reckless enough to stay near such a dangerous monster. She refuses to enter the tower alone, choosing instead to report back and return with the White Knights, exactly as Ellie predicted. While Sasha informs the kingdom, Ellie instructs Light to report the dragon to the guild as well, tightening the trap from both ends. Back in the Elven Empire, chaos erupts when the queen learns of the dragon's presence. She demands confirmation, and the Prime Minister explains that although the capital is close, if the dragon were to fly over, it could burn everything to the ground. Captain Hardy asks for more details, and the Prime Minister lists their two sources: the Dark Clown group led by a human, known for reliable intelligence, and a second source who confirmed the exact same information: Sasha, Vice Captain Michael's fiancée. With both reports aligning, the Prime Minister declares the situation unquestionably real and urges immediate action. The captain, irritated but determined, swears in the name of the White Knights to slay the Red Dragon no matter what, insisting it must be done for Light's sake. They also vow that when the White Knights leave the capital, Sasha will be eliminated for endangering Light's life. Even while restraining their power for the sake of the plan's effectiveness, they promise to act with overwhelming force. Now, with Light's unstoppable subordinates on one side and the Elf Kingdom's legendary White Knights on the other, the stage is set for explosive battles within the giant tower. The next day, Hardy arrives at the forest with his knights, ready to embark on a dangerous mission. He plans to have Sasha guide everyone through the dense terrain, given her familiarity with the forest, but Sharfat isn't convinced it's a good idea. Sasha reassures him confidently, while Hardy emphasizes that he wants to reach the tower without losing a single man. Michael speaks up, expressing his trust in Sasha, and reveals that he has even lent her his phantom armor for protection. Sasha turns to the Knight Order and tells them to believe in her, vowing to carry out her duty to her very last breath. The group begins speculating how Michael might have pulled strings to secure her presence alongside the knights, while Hardy instructs Sasha to prepare for departure. United by purpose, the elf couple teams up, ready to carry out the mission together for a better future. The scene shifts as Hardy and his knights hide behind thick bushes, eyes fixed on the towering structure ahead. Their surprise quickly escalates into shock when three massive, snake-tailed beasts appear outside the tower. Sharfat insists they could take the beasts down if they tried, but Hardy orders everyone to stand down, reminding them that their mission is to confront the dragon and avoid unnecessary fights. Suddenly, sparks shoot across the sky, drawing the beasts away from the tower and into the dense forest. Seizing the moment, Hardy signals the team to move forward immediately. He warns his knights to stay prepared, anticipating even stronger monsters inside the tower. Then Sasha suddenly freezes. She can't hear a single sound. The reason being Hardy has activated his skill called Silent. This powerful ability mutes every sound within its magical circle, allowing Hardy and his team to move in perfect stealth. While the skill comes with its own limitations, Sasha can't help but be impressed by Hardy's sheer strength. With that, the entire team begins their silent advance. In the midst of it, Sasha makes a chilling vow. This time, she will kill Light once and for all. First of them, Sharfat impatiently steps inside the tower. Soon enough, the entire group is merged with a mysterious teleportation magic circle beneath their feet. In an instant, the team is split apart, each member teleported to a different floor. Light greets Sasha and Michael on the 5th floor, while the other White Knights encounter his subordinates on various floors. And just like that, the stage is set. The drama of revenge begins. Meanwhile, Kia and Nia are at their wits' end, seething with frustration as they unleash their anger on Sharfat for causing the chaos. Determined, they decide to locate their captain and regroup with the rest of their allies. But before they can make a move, Mira and Ice Heat suddenly block their path. Mira eyes them with disdain, commenting on how weak they appear, while Ice Heat calmly reminds her to just follow the orders. The twin elves can't help but wonder who these girls actually are. Mira reassures them they have nothing to fear, she won't kill them, but admits it's all thanks to Ellie's magic. Even though she doesn't understand the magic fully, all she knows is that she wants to tear these elves apart piece by piece. Kia and Nia can't hold back their endless questions. Mira then drops a bombshell. The dragon was nothing but bait. The elves realize the enemy's true plan. They always intended to lure the White Knight Order into direct combat. Ice Heat sharply tells Mira not to reveal any information to these stupid elves, fearing they might find a way to save themselves and escape. She stresses that the enemy cannot be underestimated, and she must stay on guard. Kia and Nia immediately take this as an insult. Enraged, these so-called midget knights charge at Mira and Ice Heat. Despite their aggressive assault, the girls dodge every attack effortlessly. Yet the elves continue to boast, glazing over themselves with pride, claiming to carry the blood of the true master and boasting that they've reached level 1800. Incensed by being called weak, they decide it's time to teach the girls a harsh lesson. They also plot to extract more information, threatening to torture the girls by cutting off their limbs. As the midget knights carry on with this absurd display of overconfidence elsewhere, Sharfet panics, fearing he's about to be scolded, or worse, by Hardy for missing the teleportation magic. Looking around, he realizes he's definitely not on the first floor. Sharfet spots a mysterious girl and, curious, asks her about the floor. She steps forward, Suzu, and instantly stuns him with her beauty. Sharfet, completely captivated, immediately offers to escort her if she's lost. Then something unexpected happens. The musket in Suzu's hand speaks up, introducing Suzu as a shy woman who rarely speaks, while identifying itself as Raku. Sharfet mutters about how the mission planners were idiots for not anticipating traps, but then, true to form, starts acting like a pervert, declaring that he already loves Suzu and intends to make her his. Raku quickly shuts him down, explaining that Suzu isn't interested in him at all, and that she prefers gentle, handsome men. Raku even teases Suzu for having a crush on Light, which makes her snap, hitting the musket against the wall in frustration. Sharfet, undeterred, refuses to give up, vowing to make her his by any means. He unleashes his invincible arrow skill at Suzu. She dodges effortlessly, as if swatting away a fly, and immediately fires a bullet straight at him. Sharfet reacts, shooting another arrow, and the two projectiles collide midair. Shocked to see her successfully defend against his attack, he begins to realize she's no ordinary opponent. Raku chimes in, praising him for blocking the bullet, and the stage is set. The battle explodes into an even more thrilling, intense showdown. Mira bursts into laughter at the twins, but the elves fire back with a mocking laugh of their own, calling Mira stupid for giving them the advantage inside their own tower. With no hesitation, they prepare for battle and unleash a furious attack called Wind Cutter. Ice Heat is impressed by the speed, but Mira simply scoffs, calling them weak. As the twin elves keep up their relentless assault, the girls dodge each strike with precise movement. Mira is clearly having fun while Ice Heat stays focused and serious. The twins grow more confident with every strike, feeling like they are dominating the battle thanks to their stamina. But suddenly, one of the elves slips behind Mira and slices off her arm, catching her completely off guard. Her severed arm drops to the ground as Mira goes down for a moment, but it's immediately clear she's perfectly fine and ready to continue. She smiles and asks Ice Heat what she thinks. Ice Heat calmly replies that although the elves are doing well, she still finds them weak. Hearing this, the elves lose their minds and start hurling insults at the girls. Mira only laughs louder, telling them they haven't won anything just by cutting off her arm. Then she shocks everyone. Mira bends down and devours her own severed arm, making the elves freeze in terror. In the same instant, her arm regenerates completely. She looks up at the twins with a twisted, demonic smile, telling them she has even more to show. The twins tremble as Mira grabs her head and lifts it clean off her body, still alive, still moving. Afterward, both girls formally introduce themselves to the twins and reveal their power levels. The numbers send the elves into a frenzy, because the girls' power levels are more than double their captain. The elves refuse to believe them and explode with rage, screaming at them to shut up as they launch another wave of attacks. But the girls stand their ground like total bosses, casually talking to each other while the attacks hit them. The elves can't believe what they're seeing. Desperate, they leap into the air and unleash another barrage, even stronger than before. Ice Heat doesn't even flinch, saying she doesn't need to defend herself against enemies this week. The elves' blades slam against the girls, but they can't cut through their flesh at all. When the girls stare back at them, the elves panic and start running for their lives. Mira mocks them again, but Ice Heat warns her not to get careless. They might still have some backup plan. Mira shifts into her attack stance, and Ice Heat prepares as well, activating her legendary gauntlets. As Nia and Kia sprint for their lives, panic surges through them as they realize the horrifying truth that the girls chasing them are far stronger than the dragon they once heard about. The twins dash desperately through the tower, scanning every corner for an exit, but suddenly freeze in place when a strange sensation hits them. Sweat pours down their faces. Their breath hitches. The air around them has become scorching hot. That is when they understand that this heat is no accident. It is another deadly trick from the enemy, and if they do not prepare, they will end up like roasted chicken. With no time to waste, both elves begin chanting their magic, summoning a massive ice wall to shield them from the incoming heat. A wave of relief washes over them as the temperature drops for a brief second, but their hope shatters instantly when the ice wall starts melting right before their eyes. Realizing the danger, they hastily conjure a second ice wall using the exact same spell, but this one dissolves even faster. Their skin feels like it is being cooked alive, their bodies screaming as if they are strapped to a burning grill, and they have no idea how to survive this hell. Then Ice Heat steps forward, channeling her flame powers and intensifying the heat surrounding the twins. Nia and Kia stare in despair, questioning their fate as they push their magic to reinforce the ice wall again and again. But it is pointless. The wall continues to melt, collapse, and vanish faster than they can rebuild it. Their destiny catches up with them in an instant as Ice Heat's flames break through their final barrier, engulfing them completely, reducing them to nothing but ash. Watching the aftermath, Mira and Ice Heat wonder aloud if the twins are still alive. Lucky for the elves, Ellie's earlier spell keeps them from dying outright, or they would have been gone long ago. Ice Heat admits they may have gone too far on opponents that week, but Mira dismisses her concern, explaining that at least now they know the practicality of their power on the surface level. With that settled, the two decide it is time to follow Light's orders exactly as instructed. Mira then shifts her gaze toward the battered elves with the cold, merciless expression of a demon, declaring that now she will break their minds. She plans to torture them exactly the way they made humans suffer. The elves desperately beg for help, but Mira reminds them that the humans they once tormented must have begged the same way. She refuses to let them die until they spill every piece of information she needs. Moments later, the entire chamber echoes with the agonizing screams of the twins as Mira laughs right in their faces, taking twisted pleasure in their suffering. On the second floor of the tower, Sharfet finally shows why his invisible crossbow skill is feared. He fires magical arrows straight at Suzu with a rapid-fire pace that could shred anyone who slips for even a moment. Suzu stays on the move, dodging non-stop while Sharfet keeps the pressure up. The invisible crossbow is a lethal weapon with an insanely high rate of fire, and Suzu quickly takes cover. But the moment she steps out, Sharfet unleashes arrows in completely random directions, leaving both Rucko and Suzu totally confused. The arrows are slower than normal, but before they can analyze it, Sharfet suddenly shifts gears and launches another attack, this time with brutally fast arrows. Suzu immediately reacts, dodging the slow ones but accidentally placing herself right into the path of the fast ones. At the last possible second, she twists away and avoids the deadly shot, leaving Rucko stunned as she realizes this was actually all part of the elf's plan. Sharfet smirks, thanks Rucko for the compliment, and tells her this is only the beginning. He then fires a massive barrage of arrows directly at Suzu, but she manages to evade every single one. Sharfet starts trash-talking her, asking if she ever plans on fighting back. He knows she's trying to make him burn through his magic, but he isn't stupid. Instead, he uses magic to block her escape route and prepares a final attack. He launches a shot that explodes on impact, dealing heavy damage to Suzu as he controls each arrow's movement like a true master of his craft. Suzu forces herself back to her feet, and Sharfet casually tells her he never intended to kill her because he didn't want to ruin her beautiful face. Then he drops the real bomb. He mentions Light, says he's way cooler than that boring guy, and straight up asks Suzu to be his girlfriend. Suzu snaps instantly. Rucko realizes Sharfet has just made the biggest mistake of his life while Suzu unleashes murderous intent that fills the whole floor. Rucko calls him an idiot while trying to calm Suzu down, but it's already too late. Suzu lifts her musket and fires a single bullet, and then thousands of bullets erupt from the barrel at once. The moment Sharfet sees this, he completely loses it and practically shits his pants. Suzu unleashes the true power of her musket, a weapon forged from her own magic, letting her control every bullet with absolute precision. Rucko knows this thing is a monster on its own, pumping out 1,000 rounds per minute, and even Sharfet nearly loses his sanity when he witnesses that overwhelming firepower. He immediately tries to bolt, desperately sprinting for his life, but the bullets hunt him down like heat-seeking missiles while he's cursing Suzu at the top of his lungs. He whirls around and fires arrows straight at the incoming shots, hoping to neutralize them, but nothing works. Reality hits him hard. He's up against a force way beyond his reach. A bullet slams into him and he stumbles forward, trying to endure the agony, only to realize that Suzu's shots carry poison that spreads pain through his entire body in an instant. These bullets don't just hit, they torture. Suzu takes aim again, and this time her bullet nails Sharfet right in the face, and before he can even recover, dozens more tear toward him from every direction, ripping through him and leaving him cooked beyond recognition. The effects hit him all at once: confusion, weakness, severe bleeding, even paralysis, until he collapses on the floor, barely clinging to life. Rucko can't believe he's somehow still breathing, but Suzu isn't finished. She raises her foot and repeatedly stomps Sharfet's face, each strike echoing through the battlefield. Rucko panics and tries to calm her down, warning her that Sharfet is a pervert and might take advantage of this, and after a moment Suzu finally stops. Rucko then reminds her that they never even got to see how strong Sharfet truly is, which ruins their plan completely. Even if Suzu heals him now, he won't be able to fight back. Suzu worries she'll be punished, but Rucko reassures her, telling her their master is a kind man. At the same time, on another floor, we find Mast cautiously moving through the area when Jack steps out in front of him with a confident smirk, saying he has been waiting for this moment all along. Jack explains that they're standing on the 3rd floor of the tower and that no one else is around, assuring Mast that there are no traps and inviting him to settle things with a straightforward one-on-one fight like real men. He keeps the mood casual even though he knows the gap between their strength levels is enormous, smiling as he says it's not usually his style to mess with someone weaker than him, and even offers Mast the chance to surrender before things spiral out of control. But Mast acts like an arrogant bitch, throwing insults at Jack and claiming the level of strength he's talking about is impossible for an ordinary human. Jack simply tells him to go ahead and confirm it himself if he's so doubtful. Mast declares that he'll know the truth once he beats him, raising his weapon and asking it to lend him strength. Jack cracks his knuckles in response, agreeing that once they fight, they'll both discover each other's real power. Mast strikes first, promising to send Jack straight to his god with a single blow, but he's instantly stunned when Jack blocks the attack with just one arm and calmly tells him he's too slow. Mast stumbles back, eyes wide, unable to process what just happened, and Jack's smile only makes him angrier as he charges again. He unleashes attack after attack, but Jack blocks every strike with ease, as if swatting away the hits of a small child, leaving Mast in disbelief that a human could be this overwhelmingly strong. Repositioning himself, he convinces himself that using his entire body to launch one decisive attack might finally bring Jack down. But the moment he rushes in, Jack responds with a single punch that not only stops him in his tracks, but sends him flying several meters away. Exhausted and shaken, Mast struggles to comprehend the sheer force he's up against, questioning the true level of Jack's strength and realizing he might not survive this encounter. Yet as a member of the White Knight Order, he refuses to give up if it means protecting his people. Jack taunts him, saying that elves always think killing humans is doing them a favor, while Mast insists that humans have no talent and would be better off dead instead of living miserable lives. Jack calls him a crazy bastard, and Mast fires back, belittling him as just a weak human, declaring that he cannot allow Jack to win for the sake of his people. He leaps into the air again, shouting that his ideals will save the world, then slams his weapon into the floor, releasing a massive surge of power throughout the atmosphere. His eyes suddenly begin to bleed, but Jack simply tells him to squeeze out every drop of strength he can, still fully confident he can crush a pathetic elf like him without breaking a sweat. Mast unleashes the arm halberd, a weapon capable of boosting its wielder's abilities for a full 3 minutes, and a treasured magical relic passed down through his family. Yet even with its power, Mast is shaken to the core when Jack casually blocks every attack as if he's just playing around, making him wonder if he'd still struggle even with the strength of his own captain. Jack watches calmly as Mast absorbs energy and grows stronger each second, prompting him to finally get serious. He shrugs off his coat and tosses it to the ground, just as Mast charges in with bloodshot eyes and swings his massive axe. Jack catches the blade midair with ease, showing off the iron strength of his body armor. In the next moment, a mysterious material spreads across Jack's body, forming a striking red armor that looks both powerful and refined. Seeing this transformation, Mast completely loses his composure, pulls back his axe, and attacks again with everything he has. But Jack blocks it effortlessly and counters with a brutal punch straight to the elf's face, then follows up with another blow that sends Mast crashing into a pillar, leaving him badly injured. Jack lifts him up like a discarded piece of trash, briefly wondering if he accidentally killed him, but relaxes when Mast starts moving. Still, Jack is baffled that someone this week had the courage to challenge him head-on, asking if all elves are like this while questioning what he's even supposed to do next. The scene then shifts to the 4th floor, where Nazuna introduces herself to Captain Hardy of the White Knights. Captain Hardy scans the interior of the tower, realizing it's far more intricate and different than it appears from the outside. Nazuna calls out to him, teasing that it's rude to ignore someone speaking, but Hardy calmly replies that he heard her loud and clear. Nazuna grins, acknowledging that she knows he's the strongest elf in the world, and declares that her mission is to take him on. Hardy quickly senses that this was all orchestrated by his enemy, and as he studies Nazuna, he comes to a chilling realization. She is far from an ordinary human. Drawing his sword, he decides that nothing coming his way could possibly match his strength. With a cold, unwavering gaze, he tells Nazuna to begin the battle. Nazuna's excitement is palpable, like a child at play. She swings her massive sword with incredible ease despite her small frame, leaving Hardy to wonder if she might belong to the demon race. He decides to observe her abilities closely. Not willing to hold back any longer, Nazuna grins brightly and unleashes a devastating attack, swinging her sword through the air with overwhelming power aimed straight at Hardy. The force of her strike is so immense that it tears through the very walls of the giant tower. In the next instant, Hardy collapses, his sword shattered and his body cut open. Nazuna stands in shock, landing beside him, seeing him bathed in blood and completely still. Fear creeps in. From another floor, Ellie's voice pierces the moment, scolding Nazuna for already destroying the tower walls. Nazuna tries to explain herself, but Ellie doesn't let her off the hook, reminding her that she had strengthened her floor with magic specifically to prevent such destruction. Clearly, the plan failed, and Ellie now faces the task of repairing the tower. She's visibly upset and embarrassed, while Nazuna apologizes repeatedly. Ellie's point is clear. Nazuna has yet to control her strength, and if she can't, she risks obliterating everything whenever Light assigns her a task. The lesson is clear. Control comes first. Feeling disappointed and sad, Nazuna listens as Ellie instructs her to focus on harnessing her power next time. Nazuna apologizes again, and Ellie finally calms down. Just then, Captain Hardy stirs, alive once more, healing himself with magic. Ellie immediately tells Nazuna to prepare for another round. This time, however, she gives Nazuna strict orders. No walls of the tower should be broken. Nazuna nods in agreement, assuring Ellie that she will control her strength. Hardy knows he could easily defeat Nazuna, but her arrogant attitude proves costly. He admits he underestimated her strength and is shocked by her punch. No one has ever stood against him before. He has razed countless human villages in the past. Acknowledging his mistake, he apologizes and declares he will fight at full strength, thanking Nazuna for exposing his carelessness and the sword for saving him from instant death. Lucky to have recovered, Hardy decides to stop toying with her. He creates a field of absolute silence where not even a breath can be heard, a rare skill that crushes the psyche and carries two deadly effects. First, it debuffs enemies, steadily weakening their stats while the silence hides the changes. Second, a secret ability known only to him and his mother, the Elf Queen, activates Silence Return. Hardy reclaims all the enemy stats he had previously weakened. Centuries of battles, countless kills, and relentless training have prepared him for this moment. He summons the Hermit's Sword, calling on the silence itself to gather into a weapon capable of annihilating his foe. The Blade of Silence, forged from dark magic, is his secret. Anyone who has ever seen it is long dead. Hardy is ready to unleash real battle, but Nazuna's determined expression makes him pause. He recognizes her skill and sees that she understands she cannot match his sword's power. Hardy decides to provoke her speed. Under different circumstances, he might have invited her to join the order, but now he strikes to uncover her master. Inside the silence sphere, Nazuna assumes a fighting stance, ready to confront him. Hardy anticipates her attack, but her lack of combat experience slows her, something he easily predicts. Wielding the Hermit's Sword and a unique technique, Hardy considers himself the strongest elf alive and expects Nazuna to fall swiftly. Nazuna finally attacks. Hardy assumes, like before, she cannot defeat him. Nazuna stands directly before him, and Hardy thinks he can cut her in half in an instant. But then Nazuna slams her fist into his stomach. Blood spills from Hardy's mouth as he is sent crashing into a wall. Nazuna's fist remains outstretched while deep cracks form around him. Nazuna calmly states she didn't break the wall and controlled the force perfectly. Ellie screams at Nazuna in anger. Nazuna explains she did everything Ellie wanted and still didn't break the wall, surprised by Ellie's fury. Ellie angrily reminds her she was told not to break or even crack the wall, or they would have to fix it. Frustrated, Ellie asks how many times she has been told to control her power, and whether she knows how much mana it costs to repair the wall. Nazuna shouts that she tried her best and, in frustration, calls Ellie a virgin. Ellie reacts in shock, questioning if Nazuna even understands the word. Confused, Nazuna says she learned it from the fairies. Ellie grows even angrier, scolding both Nazuna and the fairy who taught her such strange words. Light notices that Ellie has spent too much mana, but she confidently replies that she still has plenty of energy for magic. Meanwhile, Light observes the chaos Nazuna has caused. He sees Ellie screaming and trembling, though thankfully, it's all under control now. Light comments on Nazuna's frivolous nature, but her raw strength makes her manageable. Ellie points out that the elves possess unknown technology, yet Nazuna swiftly handles it. Even with only a level up and an invisible sword, Hardy is ready to show off something exciting with her unique skill. Light notes that Hardy's level spikes to around 4,000, a terrifying number, but in the heat of battle, he can't even land a single strike against Nazuna. Clearly, Nazuna needs guidance to control her powers, though she behaves like a child. Her immense power is likely because she's the last card to be summoned. Ellie stresses that they must teach her manners and restraint, warning that unchecked influence could create serious problems down the line. Light agrees, she's right. Everyone else operates at very high levels. Nazuna's strength is undeniable, but her magic resistance remains her only weak point. Light realizes that if Nazuna faces both Ayuki and Ellie at once, predicting a winner is impossible. Even the others, including Ice Heat, struggle to handle Nazuna's unpredictable, almost adorable antics. Attempts to rein her in fail completely. He analyzes Mei as the oldest, brilliant, and caring. Yuki comes next, Ellie is third, and the youngest is Nazuna. When viewed this way, they're all like sisters, and Light can't help but see it that way. The discussion shifts to the arrival of guests. Light apologizes, reassures everyone that all is well, and the mood lifts. Ellie agrees and suggests moving on to business. With determination, Light puts on his mask and orders Ellie and Ayuki to prepare, waiting impatiently for the door to open. Outside, Michael and Sasha are together. Michael senses a trap that even Sharfat could not detect. Sasha asks if everything is still inside the tower. Michael clarifies that it isn't exactly on the first floor. Sasha notices the corridor, lined like a red carpet, signaling that someone awaits them. She suggests quickly scouting ahead, but Michael insists there's no point in lingering. They must push forward. He warns her to prepare a ghost-class weapon as anything could happen and tells Sasha to follow his lead. She understands. Together, they walk down the red carpet and reach a massive door standing ominously before them. The door opens on its own, revealing a boss room that resembles a red dragon's lair. The carpet leads straight to a throne at the top of the stairs. Sasha is immediately confused to spot the freak she met earlier. Michael asks if it's an acquaintance, and she replies that she only saw him earlier while investigating on her own. She sternly adds that he wouldn't dare speak in front of her. They've met once before, and she still resents his insolence. Light recalls the times they cleared dungeons together, remembering just how terrifying those moments were. Sasha says she doesn't recall being in the same group and suggests Light might be confusing her with another elf. Light quietly removes his mask, revealing that they haven't seen each other in a long time. Sasha's shock is immediate. She gasps in horror at his face. Light, calm and collected, declares that he is ready for revenge. Sasha, clearly startled, demands to know what happened to Light's burns and why he hasn't changed a bit in 3 years. Light calmly explains that the burns are nothing but an illusion, and that his growth has been just as hidden. Michael, caught off guard, struggles to grasp the situation, but quickly realizes from the conversation that he's facing a former candidate for the role of master. Light then reveals the shocking truth. 3 years ago, he accidentally fell into a teleportation trap and ended up on the lower floors when his own team tried to kill him in the abyss. From that moment, Light vows revenge on all his former associates, determined to uncover why they tried to kill him. He trains relentlessly, grows stronger than ever, and begins gathering real comrades, including the girls standing before them now, the tower they find themselves in. Light built it himself, a fortress dedicated to exacting revenge on Sasha alone. Sasha can hardly believe it. Light constructed this entire tower for vengeance. Meanwhile, Michael is laughing, relishing every twist of fate. Thrilled by his luck, he never expected to have the chance to personally eliminate the former master candidate. He explains to Sasha that killing the tower's owner could pave the way for their children to rise as the next rulers, amplifying the kingdom's influence. Michael is astonished at Light's strength, capable of building such a massive tower alone, yet he underestimates Light's true potential. He declares that no matter how powerful Light becomes, as long as he belongs to the insect race, even such strength can't intimidate the elves. Confident, Michael urges Sasha to wield the weapons from the treasury and finish the former master candidate as soon as possible. Determined, Sasha steps up, ready to take Light down herself. "I agree," she exclaims, eyes burning with resolve. She vows to punish Light personally, screaming that she will kill him with her own hands and warning him to be prepared to die for his foolishness. Refusing to talk further, he orders the others to stay out of it, and Ellie responds obediently, "Yes, master." Sasha admits that her level surpasses 500, yet she's been training non-stop and is fully prepared for battle. Light, impressed, congratulates her, and she immediately shows him she has more in store. He quickly realizes Sasha is preparing an illusion, suspecting she's planning a psychic attack. The tension spikes as Light understands she wields the royal-class weapon, Angel Ocarina, a weapon capable of crushing enemies like insects. The battle erupts as Light faces a massive creature. Sasha screams, "Die! Do not resist, Light!" He dodges the powerful blow, noting the creature's surprising speed for its enormous size. Far from intimidated, Light revels in the challenge, determined to attack despite the enemy's shield, knowing he must break through its defenses. Suddenly, a wall of light materializes before him. Irritated but unfazed, Light charges through, shattering the wall and destroying the shield in one sweep. They are stronger than he anticipated, pushing him to his limits. Light attempts a full assault, but ultimately only manages to break his hands. From one angel's body emerges a knight, while the others stand aside, observing cautiously. The enemy quickly raises another barrier and uses healing magic to recover, demonstrating that the angels not only fight but also provide magical support to each other. Light watches intently, intrigued by their teamwork. Meanwhile, Sasha is losing her composure, shocked to witness Light giving the angels a fight far tougher than she imagined. The tension, strategy, and sheer power on display make it clear. This is no ordinary battle. Every strike, every illusion, every spell is a calculated test of strength, and the tower itself has become the ultimate proving ground for Light and Sasha's unstoppable determination. Sasha and Michael are completely amazed. This is the first time they've ever seen someone with the sheer power to destroy an angel. Sasha is shocked, wondering how Light could have become so strong when he was only level 15 before. But Light says, with unwavering confidence, that he has been training in the abyss all this time. He reveals that he's reached level 9099, and Michael warns Sasha that the lower races simply aren't capable of reaching such a level. Michael notes that the angels have underestimated Light, thinking him weaker than he really is, and Sasha can't help but agree. In a surge of rage, Sasha calls on the angels to attack Light without hesitation, daring him now that he's at least a little stronger. Light doesn't hesitate. He proves he's not bluffing by summoning Dust Brace with a decisive strike against one of the angels. He shouts, "Show up, Shadow Dance," leaving Sasha in awe. Light unleashes magic at a lightning pace, casting spell after spell, summoning a fire obstacle, an ice sword, and fire arrows, obliterating his enemies. Sasha is stunned. He actually kills them. Even as the magic-type angel begins to recover, Sasha realizes she doesn't waste mana. She could summon angels endlessly until her gems run out. Light quickly notes that the angelic ocarina doesn't spend mana, has no cooldown, and that there's a massive number of angels even stronger than he expected. He decides to target the summoner first. Michael steps between Light and Sasha, blocking the way. He accuses Light of trying to harm his fiancée, threatening him to never even think of doing such a thing again. Light evaluates Michael's shield and staff, questioning whether they'll withstand his next powerful blow. Abruptly, Light flies back, startled by the unexpected impact, while everyone watches his rapid movements. The sudden appearance of the barrier takes Light completely off guard, and even the elves watch the shield's power with wary eyes. Light realizes this isn't just a spell. He didn't expect such overwhelming strength. Michael assesses Light's attack, noting its impressive force, and curiously asks how Light feels about the result. He explains that his ghostly weapon, Bless and Punishment, repels weak attacks and protects those who dare to challenge the deity. With his shield, he can even enhance the traits of those he considers allies. He tests Light, asking if he can handle angels reinforced by the shield, and warns that they will fight continuously and regenerate until he orders them to stop. Sasha shouts that Light cannot harm her, thanks to Michael's protection. Any blow he tries will rebound. Grinning, she asks Light how he feels after everything that's happened. She loudly insults him, calling him a pathetic loser, and demands that he admit he's helpless against her and the other elves. Sasha and Michael relentlessly humiliate him, calling him weak, warning that his game is over and that he belongs to the pathetic lower race. Michael declares that they want to destroy everyone, leaving Light's chance against them seemingly lost, and wonders why he even resists. Light chuckles at the notion of hopelessness, repeating their words with a sneer, clearly doubting their meaning. Then he laughs as the truth hits him. Sasha and Michael watch in horror as he descends into complete madness. Light screams in desperation. Ellie and Ayuki try to stop him, but it's too late. Light activates code 9999, removes the first seal from his soul, and releases an immense power within himself. Finally, he unleashes his trump card, the Gungnir, ready to finish this, once and for all. Gungnir, the legendary weapon. After 3 years of using the infinite Gacha, the master finally obtains the Gungnir Extraclassa, a weapon so powerful it's beyond comprehension, so immense that neither he nor May can fully grasp it. It's unbelievably dangerous. The power is so overwhelming that they use our level 999 souls to forge a special entity together with Light, May, Ayuki, and Ellie. But one of the seals meant to contain Gungnir is broken, by none other than Lord Light, the very one who said it. Ellie immediately shouts a warning to Mr. Light, but it's already too late to intervene. Light radiates a black, dense, and oppressive aura, thick smoke rising around him like a storm of despair. Light declares that it's time to show them true hopelessness, just as promised. Sasha and Michael freeze in sheer shock at the sight, urgently commanding the angel to take him down. One angel steps forward, swinging a club whose sharp end nearly grazes Light, but the attack is no match. The club shatters effortlessly against a weapon so small in comparison, leaving the elf couple stunned beyond belief. Fixing his gaze on his target, Light advances slowly, deliberately. Looking directly at the angel, he remarks with chilling amusement, "It's funny that even they can feel hopeless and desperate." Another wall of light erupts before him, but Light remains unmoved, indignant. Truly, there are no other techniques besides this. Holding his weapon steady, he glances back and says, "It's unfortunate since they did not experience any despair yet." Sasha watches in utter shock as the angels crumble to dust right before her eyes. Panic surges through her as she shouts for them to recover, but Light calmly tells her it's useless. Frantically, Sasha begins summoning more angels, desperate to regain control of the battlefield. Meanwhile, Light's right arm slowly burns under the searing magic of Gungnir, yet he doesn't flinch. His determination is clear. He wants them to taste true despair. The angels, however, have already recovered, and the elves are preparing to unleash their secret trump card. With a sharp command, Sasha orders the angels to merge, forming a colossal high angel. She immediately instructs the towering entity to strike at Light. The high angel conjures a massive holy spear and hurls it straight at him. Sasha laughs, venom dripping from her words, confident that Light cannot withstand such an attack, declaring that beings like him belong in hell. But to her horror, Light swallows the attack as if it were nothing. His voice cuts through her disbelief as he calls out, questioning if she truly thinks such a strike could defeat him. He advances steadily, each step fueling Sasha's terror, and she commands the high angel to strike again. Light's magic shields him from above, the flames on his hand continuing to burn, but he recovers with unwavering resolve. He taunts Sasha, asking if she's grown tired because now it's his turn. Horror spreads across her face as she orders the high angel to attack once more, calling him a jerk. The high angel summons radiant heavenly beams, unleashing them against Light, but he brushes them aside effortlessly, like swatting away insects. Sasha can't comprehend why nothing works and screams for the high angel to kill him. As Light fights back, advancing closer with a teasing question about what's wrong, he raises his magic weapon. Pink and purple flames roar to life around him as he screams that he will kill her. And then, with a chilling laugh, he leans in, eyes locked on a terrified Sasha, asking the question that sends shivers down her spine. What is she going to do now? In fear, Sasha screams, desperately urging the high angel to act, but before anything can happen, the high angel launches 3 attacks at once. Light just grins, completely unfazed. In an instant, Light obliterates the high angel, declaring their assault a failure. Sasha and Michael are left frozen in shock, horrified at the overwhelming power. All that remains of the high angel are nothing but charred coals. Michael orders Sasha to restore the angel, but nothing happens. Ocarina crumbles in her hands. Light calmly explains that his nearby gun is called God Slayer for a reason. Michael roars in anger, demanding to know what kind of weapon it is. Light reveals that Gungnir is a weapon of the Genesis class. Michael laughs incredulously at first, refusing to believe it. The elf explodes in fury, shouting that a weapon like that is considered a national treasure. Michael raises his shield, claiming it can completely neutralize Light's attack, boasting that the elves could never lose to humans. Light merely smirks, confident that no shield can stop him, even daring to say that not even the ruler of the elves could succeed. Suddenly, a massive explosion lights up the sky, darkness raging in all directions, leaving utter chaos and destruction behind. The shockwave tears through everything, shattering the battlefield into fragments. Elves scream in terror and despair, injured comrades frozen in shock, collapsing to the ground. The battlefield is littered with heavily wounded elves. Michael stares in disbelief, realizing his shield is broken and that he severely underestimated Light. He hesitantly asks if Light is the master, but Light coldly replies that he isn't recognized and is dead. Then Michael grimly notes that they've lost and that this has to be reported to the management. Michael vows to return, refusing to abandon such a monstrous threat. The elf pleads for forgiveness, lifting the magical weapon, but nothing happens. Confused, Michael can't understand why it's failing. Light explains that no transfer magic works in the tower, and Michael accuses him of lying once again. Light responds that the magic exists only because they themselves created it. Ellie adds that the tower is built on the core of the abyss, where movement magic simply does not function. Light asks if the elves have any other options. Michael insists that hope is not dead yet. Michael proclaims that the head of the order will arrive to save them, a force capable of killing Light, whose level exceeds 3,000. The elf offers them a way out, promising not to report them, but Light declares the battle over and he calls for ice heat. Sasha looks on in bewilderment, trying to understand what's happening. The elves turn and see someone approaching, carrying the bodies of their fallen comrades, Captain Hardy, Mast, Sharfat, Kia, and Nia. Every one of their allies has been defeated by Light's team. Light smirks, taunting them, asking if any hope remains while they tremble in terror. Michael and Sasha scream, consumed by horror. The team rushes in, apologizing to Light for being late, but he calmly assures them that they're right on time. In a shocking move, Michael drops to one knee, offering Light an irresistible deal: become the Elven Lord if he joins forces. Michael throws his own card on the table, claiming he's a politician who can help Light seize power, but Light cuts him off coldly, stating he has no interest in ruling. His goal is far darker: revenge on everyone in the world and uncovering truths that have eluded him for 3 long years. Michael suddenly realizes he's expendable and screams for release, but the elf declares it's not his wish, it's an order from above. Sasha, stunned, confronts Michael, asking how he could lie about promising to marry her, only for him to callously reject her. Chaos erupts among the elves, a bitter reminder for Light of when he is cast into the abyss. Sasha lashes out, branding Michael a traitor, and he fires back, calling her a girl of easy virtue. Light makes it clear his vengeance won't touch Michael. Instead, Ellie steps forward to shape his future. She confronts the elf, furious at his insult to their god after ignoring their offer to surrender. Michael panics, admitting he underestimated Light's strength. Glittering with divine intensity, the witch challenges him, asking if he truly comprehends the beauty of their light, and he responds, stunned, as if struck by an epiphany. But Ellie isn't done. His understanding is still shallow. The greatness of the god Light must be hammered into him. Michael panics and starts running, screaming in sheer terror, but Ellie is merciless. A chain of spikes materializes, ensnaring him, and when he struggles, she declares it tactical magic. Escape is impossible. As he flails, Ellie digs into his memories, but his remorse falls on deaf ears. Meanwhile, Sasha arrives at Light's place, trembling as she attempts to plead for leniency, reminiscing about the old days. She asks if he remembers being hated yet comforted by her, how they spent their time together. Light recalls it all with crystal clarity, grateful for the lessons in hypocrisy she unwittingly taught him, even as she pierces his leg with an arrow. The elf, trembling and in tears, insists it was an order from above, claiming she had no choice, fearing for her life. Desperation takes over and she offers herself to Light. That's when Ayuki, the catgirl, intervenes, scolding the elf for stooping so low just to evade responsibility. She declares she will kill and heal the elf, but Light halts her instantly. No one touches the elf without his command. Then, turning his gaze to Sasha, Light delivers a chilling promise: he won't kill her. Yet. Instead, he will make them suffer, drown them in endless pain until he uncovers the full truth, and only then will he decide whether genocide is warranted. Light orders Mira to cover Sasha with something truly revolting, and Mira obliges, summoning a swarm of centipedes that writhe across the elf's body. Light's memory sharpens, and he summons an arrow, shooting Sasha straight through the leg. Her scream pierces the air. Light coldly recalls her past betrayals while she writhes, wrapped in centipedes. Desperate, Sasha cries that she only wanted happiness, to see his family, his parents, and his sister, but Light refuses to believe her. He accuses her of lying and demands she invent another excuse. Sasha's pleas intensify as the centipedes crawl into her mouth, entangling her face in a horrifying, relentless grip. The stage is set, the stakes are absolute, and Light's path of vengeance is unstoppable. Light gazes at Gungnir's weapon, completely blown away. It has exceeded every expectation he ever had. Satisfied, he tells the team to take a short break deep in the abyss. Days later, Ellie approaches him with a shocking report. She explains that she pulled the information straight from their memories. Captain Hardy, the Queen's son, holds the most critical details. When the Master arrives, the world could collapse. But the report doesn't stop there. It reveals that the Master actually accelerates a country's development, paving the way for a chapel of their power. Ellie points out that the previous Master had already fulfilled this role. Light questions whether speeding up development is equivalent to destroying the world, and Ellie confirms that it is. In the elves' memories, a master is someone wielding godlike magic to crush those in power who resist progress, becoming unnecessary and even inconvenient once the work is done. Light pieces it together. Once he confirmed he wasn't a master, he was marked for death. He decides it's best not to kill the captain, and Ellie agrees, knowing the fallout would be catastrophic. It's better to leave things as they are. Curious, Light asks why master candidates are killed. Ellie admits she doesn't know, not even the captain remembers. With that, Light declares it's time to move on to the next plan, and Ellie enthusiastically volunteers to strike the elf queen from a high tower. Meanwhile, in the elf castle, chaos erupts. The queen is informed that the elves sent to the tower are already dead. She screams in disbelief. Hardy is supposed to be one of the strongest. The prime minister plunges into a panic. They sent their mightiest, and they were slaughtered. Counselors argue violently over how to respond. Then the horrifying truth hits them. They are under attack by dragons. Over 100 dragons darken the sky above their capital, one flying directly overhead. On its back sits Ellie, hooded and commanding, declaring that she will punish the elves for attacking the tower, threatening to burn the city if they don't reveal who ordered the assault. The elves are paralyzed, unable to comprehend how her voice resonates directly in their heads. Ellie doesn't wait. She demonstrates the terrifying power of her dragons as multiple beasts unleash streams of fire into the city below. She gives them a final warning: 3 minutes to decide, or everything will be reduced to ash. The elves are torn, arguing fiercely over whether to hide their queen or hand her over to the mysterious witch. Ellie listens intently to every snippet of their heated debate, and oddly begins to feel a pang of nostalgia for these chaotic moments. Time runs out, and the elf queen finally steps forward, commanding the witch to leave immediately. Ellie seizes the moment, asking if the warriors were the first to attack her. Shocked, the elf queen demands the name of this tower mistress, and Ellie simply tells her to call her the witch of the tower. Questions fly fast. The queen inquires about the warriors, and the witch coldly replies that she has already punished them. Curious, Ellie presses further, asking why they were sent in the first place. The queen explains it was to investigate the dragon tower, and the witch questions whether their mission was truly for protection rather than treasure. Ellie steps closer, her voice filled with authority, declaring she will verify the truth through memory reading. Suddenly, the guards emerge, but Ellie wastes no time. She summons the terrifying sacrifice trees, whose savage power immediately overwhelms multiple guards and the chief assistant. As chaos erupts, Ellie clarifies that this is tactical class magic. These trees feed on blood and flesh. The queen, terrified, attempts to flee, but Ellie conjures a chain of thorns to stop her, diving into her memories to ensure there are no lies. The queen's memories shock Ellie, not because they're false, but because she cannot tolerate the elves' oppressive attitude toward other races. With unwavering resolve, Ellie declares that she will free every single one of their slaves and warns that if the elves continue their tyranny, she will burn them all. Her message is clear: domination of one race over another is intolerable. Later, in Light's house, the queen possesses the same critical information as Hardy, though with one difference. It comes from a meeting of the 9 principalities discussing methods of killing a master. Unfortunately, the rest of the memories are corrupted. The report reveals the existence of a more dangerous type of master. Light speculates that this master may be stronger, more formidable, but confirms that the truth remains elusive without new intel. Ellie adds that even the queen herself knows nothing. Light then recalls the plight of the elven slaves, asking how their release is progressing. Ellie proudly reports that everything is unfolding perfectly. Over 50,000 people have already been freed. Light expresses his gratitude for her invaluable assistance, noting that with every step, they edge closer to their goal, all without additional cost. The witch beams at Light's praise, humbly stating she is merely aiding God to the best of her ability. Their conversation is suddenly interrupted by May, who delivers urgent news. One of Light's targets, the dark elf Shin, died deep within the dungeon.